Hello, hello. I'm back. Yeah, yeah. I didn't stream yesterday because I was busy. That is, yeah. But yeah, we back with another playthrough of Redemption mod. But start up at a summoner is quite bad. But I'm not gonna quit. I'm just gonna continue play at a summoner or summoner. So yeah. But right now I should need diamonds to grab the star storage stuff. Yeah, like I'm just gonna go full summon now. Like no more awesome, yo. I also want Abigail too. Like, look at how hard it is to get like the flower from Abigail. So yeah, like I think I'm just gonna start still gonna go mining again. Oh, my armor set is as a living wood armor with the set bonus increase your mass number of summon. Do here thing I basically doesn't know nothing about summon because I never play summon. I believe summoning is kind of bad, but you doesn't. But for summons you don't count. You don't count your sentry at like a summoning mod. Because sentry is different than summon, right? You can summon both sentry and summon without taking a summon slot. Also, because this is a redemption mod, right? Uh, they have different damage types. You know, like right now my summon is fire damage. So yeah, so like not where there's a nature type mob will take more damage. That's why you see 1.5 damage. Yeah, that's why you see like 1.5 damage. You deal more damage. I I deal more damage against a nature mob now, but not more. I also had like a Ring Slap, which they do full damage. Like that's a cool knock though. Like yeah, look at it. Like they able to tank the fire because I think they water. So right now I change this diamond. Just one more diamond good enough. But one thing I don't like about summon is that they don't 100% attack where you want them to attack at. They just kind of there. But I'm glad they introduced the whip. But at least the whip is good enough, right? Like the whip focus summon attack damage. You deal summon damage. Your monster will attack type, monster type thing. I don't 100% hate this type thing, but it definitely ain't that good. Right? Oh, I don't have any torches? Oh no. I, to be honest, I plan to play Calamity mod. But the Inferno Calamity mod. To be honest, I don't know how far I could go. But I heard that mod is really insanely hard. Oh no, knockback is so bad. Yeah. Extremely weak knockback. So if I reroll the whip, I should get knockback, right? So it's better to fight the like a normal mob. But with better knockback, you had better way. I saw something. Elder wood chest in nearby. Hell yeah. I saw something in the up. I don't know why it's glowing. It might be a boss because it is redemption mod after all. Okay, chest here. Oh, crossbow. Actually, I never realized that there's no crossbow in Terraria, right? There's only bow and gun. What? I can't. What mine is it? Was it? There's something here. I can't even mine. Don't tell me I cannot mine that. The countless statue. Was it a chest there too? Cursed gem. Cursed gem, huh? Let me see. And gem on eye. Did it tell your current alignment? Oh, chalice of alignment. Wait, what? Oh, sorry. I'm gonna take the statue. Yeah, I cannot mine the statue. Okay, I'm gonna head back when I find diamond, but I want to craft. What is it? You feel like you're being watched. By who? What is the soundtrack changed? Uh oh. Oh, the music box. How? Yeah, I didn't know that a music box is a nice. Trap soul bubble and rusted wise and um, um, um. Also, but attack will also take damage with and get inflicted by poison. So if I drink it, they're gonna poison me, but I can also uh, lay poison, and this thing is layer occasionally emitting strong force, causing nearby enemy to blast a small magic damage both person. So this is like the magic item. Hitting the enemy will 4% elemental damage. I don't think summon damage considered elemental damage. Let's see. Yep. If you put it in the inventory, it still count as something. That's add more mana, that's for sure. Oh, what is that? Magic absorption increased magic damage from. Oh, sometimes they can activate it. I don't know like how much they can do. Occasionally, so like every few seconds, or like. Oh, definitely not every few seconds. 12, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14. Oh, every 15 seconds, I will activate it. Because that's just my estimate. Ah, shit. We, 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 It's gonna be hard to find diamonds, to be honest. There's some golden enemy. I don't know. That sounds scary. Though it's scary, I kinda want to kill them. I keep running. Okay, he died. And wait, what is drop? I just saw something like Toro Jade of Point and Gray Steel. Is that it? And Bling Root. Or maybe you draw something here. No, no, mind. Yeah. I'm planning to throw all back there. I don't annoying. Mainly it's just to try to find diamond. I mean, there also spirit mod, so I'm planning to go for mage only build for spirit mod later after I finish visit mod. But I love Terraria. This like one of the game I can play a lot of time. Oh no 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 no. Oh oh oh. It doesn't take damage. How okay, how do I kind of fight this? Oh, it actually take damage now. Wait, so you telling me that enemy had like an invincibility frame? Bro, I'm gonna be so fucking best at this. But they drop Asian block. The Asian block crafting Gatic cryo thingy. Oh, they're freezing it. Yeah, this is why this is why like the fling is so nice because it's also for. Oh, 1 second, someone calling me. Goddamn scam caller. I hate them. I don't understand like people just scam calling. I mean, it's like they don't earn a lot of money. Yeah, man, they actually earn a lot of money by scam calling. Like you calling a lot of people, you can trigger some of them. Oh shit, I run out. Stack. Oh yeah, I can craft these things, the alignment thing. Uh, where? There it is. Where's the Charlie set? Where's the Charlie set? I don't see it. Is I'm blind or something? Yeah. Oh, reading. I'm the Charlie's alignment, and I just actually my first yesterday. But you need to explain. Open inventory to. Oh, okay, now. Yeah, let me see. Certain action will align good or evil force. Okay. Fighting evil and help, so we need to set you to the right action fast with unique item and quest. Or what about evil? Assisting evil or slaying officers you allow you to put an up an act of forbidden power. Battle growth of our material based on my path. Oh, may take use more seriously or some less so. Some action can be redeemed, restore your lot alignment, and possibly raise it higher. The path should be up to you. Basically like a quest where I can be like both good or bad. Wait, where's the Charlie's at? Wait, where's... Huh? Where where am I Charlie's? I just grabbed the thing, but where is it? Did it disappear? Money. Yeah, but I just grabbed the Charlie's and oh yeah, the Charlie's alignment 0. You are truly neutral. So how does it work? Like, does it reward me based on my stuff? Oh, because I don't know. I play summon, so I don't know like what pass should I make. Should I just go for evil? Is it a knockback? Critical strike, mock, or city mocks enemy spawn? City price awake, material, magic clap, armor core, reduction, blah blah blah, spell ranking, range, blah, blah. Movement speed. Yeah, nothing. They've been killing normal thing, reduce my alignment. No, it's still the same. But it's so weird, the alignment aspect. Cool though, like this is actually a cool way to build it thing. Ah fuck, I forgot about my torch. Did I throw all my torches at the chest? Possibly, yep. Oh, this is the desert torch. Where's my normal torch? You don't tell me that I somehow losing all my torches. Dang. I think Abigail Flower is way better. And you been serving too, Abigail? Because you think I never got Abigail Flower, okay? To be honest, I never got the Abigail. I'm gonna get. I have to make the diamond gem. Okay, so only plant a certain point. How deep is it? It's deep, definitely, right? I'm gonna plant it here because I don't know like how big the tree gonna grow. It mines it. I wish there's something to push the tree go faster. Okay, I turn on control, but this doesn't allow me to build anything here. Look, oh my god, this fling thing is so nice because you had a chance to freeze enemy. Yeah, chance to free enemy and slow. could control, but he still doesn't build here. But I really need to clean the spot just for the tree to grow. This. Yes. Oh, this spot. Now let's throw all the things I don't need. Shit, do I even have potion? I thought I would just use the lesser one, like the big one. I mean, I can crap with them, but I need sand. Yeah, I right now I'm just kind of stuck. I don't know what to do. I mean, I tried to fight a first lord, but I kind of need to explore to get more health first. I think the progression is kind of annoying because I don't know like what I should build for summoning. Right now, I just gonna get a, like defense. As a summoner, you probably don't need that much damage, right? You just need kind of no defense. I need a better weight then. Oh, don't blame me. I didn't want to kill you. But if I kill zombie, I should have gained good alignment. But I freeze. I'm freezing people. Whew. What's the chance that I'm gonna get some diamond here? No way, my summon can proc the goddamn cactus traps. Oh no, I'm gonna die. Alright. Now I'll lead my I don't know, flux blinks. Deal damage. Deal like 1.25 more damage to whole enemy. Am I gonna be good alignment? Prepare. I'm just gonna see how much they're gonna give. See like what's a good, what is a good item between good and bad alignment. If it good alignment, give me a lot of good stuff, I will choose it. But if not, nah, never mind. But forbidden power sounds really good, you know. Unless they like a trade-off, whereas a good alignment doesn't have any trade-off. There's some ruby though. The alliance like really is Shen is strong more for early game. Do like the fact they had moon speed and they really tanky, like 240 health. But yeah. Oh, I saw a chest there. Dude, I got like 3 cons already. God damn. Oh, at least I got a free loot though. Summon is not bad. Because the thing is that you don't even know, like, you should attack them before sometimes. Wait, why did I take that? Oh shit, there is a mob. Oh shoot. God damn it. Ah, there was something on the side. Capcom should ruin everything.
This is really funny. The Dead Rising remake, I've seen a little bit about this, and apparently they've done a number of very questionable things with this.
Why do they need to remake Dead Rising?
Dudes, get your lubes. I'm back. I want to play a damn zombie game. What? What do you mean it's censored? Sorry, was I blocking your view? Seriously.
Really? Wait, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
So they did change the way, change her dress.
Who asked for this? Who the fuck asked? Why you do this?
Because there's so many coins, and I just stopped hiding because it looked good.
Here we go again. Capcom, lacking in creativity, has decided to once again remake the cult classic called Dead Rising.
Yeah.
However, they have
Can I
taken
even
it
grab
upon
something with
themselves
it?
to censor random shit that left us fans of the genre scratching
even
our
grab?
heads.
All balls itch, it's a fact.
On the other hand, there's a bunch of people defending
I
these
literally
changes,
couldn't
but we
care
all
less.
know that they're
Oh,
just
God.
a bunch of beta boys buying betas, boy.
Yeah, fucking Ashton creation. I think that people really fuck themselves over by not caring about this stuff. I think they do. And the reason why is that I think if you're censoring things in a game like this, the reason why
There should be
is like you
no
have like
mind.
some like ideology. And I think that if you think your ideology is more important than remastering the game and making it good again for like a newer audience, I bet you probably don't care a lot about the game. You see like what the logic is there? So like
yeah.
if you're willing to compromise the game, you're also willing to
I
not
need
care about
diamond.
it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I feel like this is such a big mining canary for any game. The zombie
I'm not
game?
a
Yeah.
rapper. Capcom was the GOAT growing up, and I'm not gonna lie. Their games are still doing great, but they have been gradually
They are.
censoring their franchises slowly, using the fist of the North Star method, where they slowly chip away at it. And before
Man.
you know it, your favorite game's already dead. In Dead Rising, the main character was a man named Frank. Now, I'll admit, Frank is not some righteous figure. He's just a reporter looking for his big scoop. The game has a lot of crude humor, which makes it unique and helps break up the seriousness of killing zombies. However, Capcom could not resist making a bunch of small changes that nobody asked for. I'm not gonna get into everything.
That's the annoying thing, right? Is like people always ask for like the shit. Like nobody, any pushback is met with it's just a game, bro. Who cares? That's because at the end of the day, making changes to something like this is completely indefensible, and
It
nobody
doesn't matter
wants or
with the
cares
game,
about it.
bro. Then why
like
are they gonna
there's
change it
nobody
in the
that's
first
like
place?
going to, oh, I was gonna buy the game, but now I'm not going to. You should
But
care.
a few things that
I
stick
mean,
out are the
I'm not
obvious
a
changes
fan,
to the
right?
female NPC's clothing. You can clearly see they added some stripes here. Also, the fabric on Cheryl's dress looks like silk, but in the remaster it appears to be what I can only assume to be Egyptian cotton. Now,
Yeah, they changed the model. Yeah.
probably the most controversial thing that happened was to a Chinese dude named Larry. In the original game, he was just some crazy man that was lacking a few brain cells. But for some reason, they turned him into the whitest Chinese dude I've ever seen.
The white guy? Oh my god. Well, hey, that's what you do, right? It's
In order to
racist?
not
I
offend
guess
China,
so.
I guess. It just seems so damn pointless. You gotta ask yourself, why do they keep doing this? Is it some conspiracy or what? Well, not at all.
Well, the reason why is that there's probably somebody at the office whose problem it is, or sorry, whose job it is to have problems. and the person whose job it is to have problems saw that and they said it's a problem.
Yeah,
That's the
definitely.
reason why it happened. Guaranteed.
You just gotta open your eyes a bit. Because what we do know is that Capcom has its own in-house localization team whose job is just
Yeah.
to sit in a room and find shit to complain about. You know what? Fuck it, I'll prove it to you in 50 seconds for all you Minutemen out there.
All right, let's
Everything
do
you
it.
need to know about is on their website. It looks like they're improving on financial and non-financial value over the long term.
Non-financial,
A company
yeah.
not caring about money. Diversity in game developers is becoming even more important. For that reason, we have been promoting diversity.
Oh my god,
and working-
diversity. Dude, video game already had diversity. Their countless game had diversity, which they don't even think about in the first place because they don't even need it. They just create a chat. Majority of the game create a character and that character fit within the game setting. Like they don't even think about that character gender in the first place. They just
on
create it.
building a workplace where women and foreign nationals can excel.
Oh,
I
boy.
think you guys see where this is going. I really don't see the problem with that.
Yeah, let's be real, right? What are you doing? What are you doing, man?
Having a mostly Japanese staff in Japan. And get this, they even offer housing assistance for foreign
shit.
workers because they don't live here and they don't understand anything. Check this out. Here's something Capcom is worried about. Risks due to countries' politics, culture, and religion. And here's what they're doing about it. Develop sales approaches that meet local needs and localization by an in-house team of experts.
I think that's fine and that's normal, but the problem is that they're listening to the wrong people. And the people that want to have things like that censored aren't the ones that are interested in buying a game like this. And so if you listen to a bunch of people that aren't even invested or don't even care about your game, and then you make the game to appeal to them, they're not going to buy the game anyway. Like that's what Concord and a million other games have proven, right? Star Wars Outlaws. You can't make a game to market to people that don't like the game. Yeah, expert is being a Karen. Yeah, these people are basically professional Karens that just complain about everything in games.
I mean, not wrong.
So there you have it. Capcom flies these inept
Yep.
weirdos to Japan, provides them housing, and since they don't know a damn thing about Japanese culture and are too socially awkward to integrate into Japan, they get shoved into this localization team just so they
Man.
can shit on our games. Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself. Yeah. Look, I'm sorry to call these people out, but if the game is lame, who's to blame? I said I'm not a rapper. I'm so sick of
I
this.
feel like that's really what it is. I mean, like, because I feel like no fan was asking for this. And they end up making changes in order to appeal to a group of people that aren't even the audience of the game. I think this is, like, in my opinion, it is like one of the most corrosive things to games now. And I think it's also like, again, if you take a step back, it's like a meta level problem, and this is only one manifestation of that meta level problem, which is like, you know, like in Wrath of the Lich King in WoW, like if people played WoW back then, you remember that like they definitely made the game a lot more casual, and they basically made the friction points that gave the game the texture that made it an experience. They kind of they rounded those off. And so like now you've got heirlooms, now you've got these other things, now you've got different quests, right? And so a lot of the things that made the game what it was get changed in the pursuit of reaching a larger audience. And I think that's what happens with so many cases.
I
Where it's like
understand it,
they think that, oh, well, this might alienate somebody, so we're going to take it out of the game. But what I think that a lot of them don't realize is that getting rid of it also alienates people, because it feels like they're consuming a product that isn't made with any sort of artistic integrity, and there's no real identity to the product other than appealing to other people.
I do understand that you want to.
I still remember.
I understand that you kind of want to reaching a larger audience with your game, but sometimes it should not alienate your current game. Like that one thing, oh yeah, we're gonna do this thing, just to have more people want to play the game. That's all. But then remove the old things that doesn't need to be removed. So alienate like the old game. Oh yeah.
Or when they added a patch of Street Fighter just to smooth out Cammy's nips. But the only thing that should matter is if they make a good game. And
So
let's see what they're
stupid.
working on. Here's a statement by Kinoshita Yoko. She joined in 1997. Let's see what she has to say. Capcom de wa seibetsu. I'm just fucking with you. There's an English version right here. During a discussion about how to create monsters that make people feel afraid, I said,
Yeah.
main monsters,
Uh-huh.
main monsters meaning bosses in Monster Hunter, are
Right.
always viscerally scary and in your face. But
Yeah,
what about
sure.
creating a monster that invokes a slow building emotional fear in the user? A male coworker told me, a man would never have saw it like that.
A man never has saw like that. What?
What? So he's saying that, like, she's saying that a man could never understand what it would be like if you had, like, if what? That's so stupid. Let me listen to this again. Fistory's good. What about creating a monster that invokes a slow building emotional fear in the user? A male coworker told me a man would never have saw it like that.
I saw it, chat. What is it? Ooh. What the hell can you stuck in me?
He's trying to hit. Yeah, that's probably
Creating a monster that invokes a slow
Bro,
building
he's
emotional
simping.
fear in the user.
Yeah.
A male coworker told me a man.
That's what it's gotta
would
be,
never
bro.
have saw it like that. You can't make this shit up, people. Just let the devs and artists do their job. What gets me most is the removal of the erotica system. While taking
Yeah.
pictures, you get bonus points for taking lewd photos of some of
Yeah.
the Type B NPCs. It's a damn shame how soft Capcom has gotten. Is it an important feature? No, but it's just another thing removed that made this game so unique. If you dudes haven't noticed it yet, there's a huge push right now to desexualize women in gaming, and this game is riddled with it. Did you know
Yep.
in the original game only female zombies could bite the player's Jack Johnson? Yeah, it's a stupid joke and
I remember that thing.
Those were the good days, boys. Man, those were the good days. Oh my god, this is so dumb. It is. It is dumb. And that's the thing. Why can't we be dumb?
Oh, never mind. Then.
Why not?
Personally, I think it's hilarious.
That's why it's
they
funny,
made it so
yeah.
that male
Yeah.
zombies can get a dip of that whip now as well. So tell me why they don't give you erotica points for taking pictures of dudes.
Mm-hmm. It's stupid
Kinda
fun,
makes
yeah.
you think, right? They also went as far as renaming the achievement Frank the Pimp, where you save 8 female characters. It's now called the Grateful Eight. How is it in 2024, in a game rated M for mature,
Yeah.
aimed at adults, where a clown can get disemboweled by 2 chainsaws, you can't even say the damn word pimp?
Wait, you can't have pimp?
No.
Oh my god.
It's just so fucking dumb. Like, it's just dumb down people.
How do you do this?
People will buy anything.
I don't
People are
understand. The
still
word
playing
pimp got
Skyrim,
censored.
still
That's
want
crazy.
People would
best
buy
selling
everything.
Wait,
Yeah, that's
It's all
what I
coming
thought.
together now. You can't sexualize women. You can't offend minorities.
Uh-huh.
Nah, it's probably just a coincidence. It's not just Capcom's fault here, dudes. There's some serious agenda-pushing game journalists out there. Let's see what they have to say. I'm sure they represent us gamers. Why is Capcom being weird about Dead Rising's removal of
Wait,
erotica
can we
points
upgrade?
by Tessa Carr?
Uh-huh.
Before that,
With
let's see what kind of
torches?
gamer she is.
What the hell?
Okay.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm
flaming.
not a gamer
What?
today.
Living maze. That's a new thing, man. Wait, what happened?
The word pimp got censored. That's crazy.
the best-selling games.
Wait, it's all coming together now. You can't sexualize women. You can't offend minorities.
Uh-huh.
Nah, it's probably just a coincidence. It's not just Capcom's fault here, dudes. There's some serious agenda-pushing game journalists out there. Let's see what they have to say. I'm sure they represent us gamers. Why is Capcom being weird about Dead Rising's removal of erotica points by Tessa Carr?
Uh-huh.
Before that, let's see what kind of gamer she is. Oh, okay. Sorry, I mean what kind of gamer they are.
What? I don't even read her stuff in the Bible.
Oh my god. Go back.
By Tessa Carr. Before that, let's see what kind of gamer she is. Oh, okay. Sorry, I mean what
No,
kind of
but-
gamer they are. In my opinion, if you're a white person traveling
Oh my
Southeast
God.
Asia, you should always let shopkeepers rip you off.
What the
fuck? Wait, what?
Dude, if you get ripped out, you're just fucking
In
dumb.
my
Just-
opinion, if you're a white person traveling South Asia, you always let shopkeepers rip you off. Just pay the price they tell you. Don't haggle as you can't afford to pay $6 for a pair of shorts. You're already getting bargain.
Nobody like to getting
Oh
ripped
my
off.
God.
Dude, if you doing it, you know what the Asian people
Where do
is
these
Asian
people
call you?
come
They call you
from?
fucking retarded.
Keepers
They,
rip
they
you
go
off.
straight up call you dumb.
Oh my!
It's crazy to me that this person still has a job.
What's
it's
wrong
pretty
with
obvious
them?
that Capcom is just trying not to alienate its anti-woke audience
Yeah.
while still removing offensive content. Hey, Tessa-chan, you don't get to dictate what's offensive. Hell, I
Yeah.
find it offensive that you even work there. We also know
I
that
do
Cheryl had a
too.
less revealing outfit, which made the usual suspects predictably cry censorship.
Because it's
Still
censorship. That's what it is. That's what you're doing.
I don't.
Usual
What?
suspects.
Oh my god.
Yes.
お前が部外者なんだよ。
Sorry about that. When are these people gonna learn that they're the weirdos? Anyways, this article was made just to try to...
Thank you. Yes, they're the ones that are weird.
Sapphire.
I guarantee you that, like, with a lot of these people, these are the people that make 87 tweets a day.
Bruh.
And it's not their job.
Oh,
These are the kinds of people that... They're the freaks. Yeah, they're the freaks. They're the ones that didn't have friends in high school. They're the ones that didn't get invited to birthday parties when they were a kid. They're the ones that couldn't figure out how to make friends in daycare. They're just perpetual, socially awkward, weird fucking losers that now want to rewrite the rules to society that everybody was pretty much fine with because we all know it's a video game. And now they want to change everything. Says you? What do you mean?
You know.
I never had problems. This is the thing. No, it's not an issue at all. It's a fucking game. I never had these issues at all. I remember the people that did, though. And they're fucking losers. And you know what they're doing now? Being fucking losers. Complaining about Donald Trump. Oh, wow. Let's make another tweet and virtue signal about the current popular thing. Absolute fucking losers. That's it. They need hobbies. They do. Yes, they're making games. Yes, I don't know how we've let the inmates take over the asylum, but these are the people that are the most socially awkward, the most annoying,
Lunker,
the
baby.
most
I got so many
disagreeable,
corns.
the most
Magic
I can't get
corn,
along with
corn.
anybody,
Oh, damn it.
and they're now trying to write the rules for the way everybody else should act. And it's exhausting. It's
just
so
one
exhausting to have to
diamond.
deal with a person like that. Go ruin something else, please. Just keep ruining your own life. Yeah, they don't know how to behave, so they gotta make it everybody else's problem. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, there's no asylums anymore. That's the problem. Is we do have an asylum. It's called social fucking media.
I mean, not wrong.
bully Capcom into making more changes that fit their weird agenda. Man, I'm so sick of these people keeping our community at war with each other, using propaganda and bully techniques to divide us.
Yeah.
Now, I know we gamers lack self-control, so it looks like you got two options here, dudes. Either not buy this shit, or treat it like a fatty. Get it used and don't tell your friends. Like you got two options here, dudes. Either not buy this shit, or treat it like
What the fuck is that chatter is
a
that?
fatty. Get it used and don't tell your friends about it.
Why don't you love me, V?
Oh god.
And shame on you, Capcom, for bending the knee to these weirdos. It's cool. You can do whatever the hell you want with your games. But remember, we'll keep doing whatever the hell we want with our money. Also, thank you for the free footage. Peace.
Is that true?
君たちも戦うっていうのか。
Man. Holy shit, I completely... Oh my
こ
god.
れより最強なのは
Please
誰
don't
かを
buy
知る
it.
ため
Send a
になの
message.
か。
I never planned on
命を
buying
か
it,
けて
honestly.
戦うっていうなら相手に
I mean, you can buy
Yeah,
the.
because like anytime that I see a game that gets censored a lot, I assume that the reason why it's censored is because the people that are making the game don't have respect for the source material. And if I think the
100%.
people making the game don't have respect, excuse me, for the source material, I also assume that the game will be bad. And the social social politics are not the only thing that's going to be bad. Because they just don't care about the game wholesale, right? Yeah, this guy's great. I watched one of his videos while he's got over 12,000 subs now, which is great. I'll link you guys this video. Yeah, give him a sub, give him a like. This one's really, really good. He's funny. Yeah, I love it, man. His videos are fire. Yeah, they're really good. They waste dev time on pointless stuff. Yeah, I think so too. Super work. Just give anti-woke fuel to be a piece of shit. They're making a problem. They think they're fixing worse. I think that these are people who just like complaining and have problems with everything because they're disagreeable, annoying people that nobody likes. That's the reason. And I think that if you actually had to spend time with these people in real life, like here's one of the things like I've noticed is that
There's a water
a lot of these people
emblem.
never post like casual photos with like their friends Like they very rarely interact, it seems like, with other people that they're friends with. Like they're just basically complaining retards that nobody likes. That's really what they are. And so, is it on both sides? Not really. I mean, like, I'm sure it is to an extent, sure. But, like, that's one thing that I think does matter a lot. Recreative, yeah. And the same with anti-woke people? I don't know. I feel like it's more one-sided. You guys, did you see this shit ending? Do you see the shit ending? Yeah, I do. I do. I think that the more... Because the problem is that... So here's the reason why it has to end. Is because people like this will never be satisfied with the current level of appeasement that they're receiving. Because if they become satisfied with what they're getting, that now they lose their power, right? Because like these people wield power through grievance. So if they aren't upset about anything and they're happy, then there's no power. They can't make people do what they want. So what do they have to do? Well, what they have to do is they have to figure out a new way that they can complain, a new problem that they can invent, a new issue that they can solve. And so in order to maintain their relevance is derivative of finding problems. So if your relevance is derivative of finding problems, then you don't want... You will continuously find new and new problems until you eventually alienate enough people to where there's a pushback. That's what's going to happen. And you're already seeing that happen.
Yeah, they're already doing it.
You see kind of what I'm saying here? And like, yeah, it's so generalized. It is. It is generalized. And like, here's a great example of it, right? It's a completely separate example. But like, you know, like how a lot of social media websites about like every 6 months or a year, they redesign their whole website and it makes it hard to use and generally worse than it originally was. Like, for example, the Twitch app right now. Why does that happen? I'll tell you why it happens. It happens because the people that are in the graphic design department need to figure out a reason for the CEO to not fire them. And so these people are creating a problem and then becoming the solution for the problem. They're trying to justify their job. And so in the same way that you see these remakes of, you know, the websites like YouTube or, you know, Twitch, the mobile app, this is the same thing. And so they're looking for problems and they're trying to figure out what they can do to like, oh, wow, I can complain about this. I can fix this, right? Not really. That's sometimes the product department. Well, either way, then the product department is doing it, right? Because they're like, oh, well, we need to identify a new thing that we need to work towards, right? Basically, people are inventing work for themselves so they can pretend like they're adding value to the company. That's basically what's happening, right? Like, whether it's developers or whoever, somebody is doing this. Why create problems when you can just innovate? Because it's harder to do. Innovating is harder than complaining. So, yeah. Woke has become too broad of a term. Well, I mean, I'm not really using... I try not to really use that word a whole lot because it's very... it can be used for a lot of different things. But, like, all I'm saying is that the way that you can make a game like this and, like, design something and change it, I think that anytime you see any change like this made, I would immediately assume that it's because the game is going to be bad. And it is a mining canary for other things that will be problematic in the game.
Shit.
People complaining about how woke is, cry wolf scenario, right? People won't shut the fuck up and make lists of woke games and Excel sheets and putting things like Baldur's Gate on it is stupid. I think it's stupid too, but you can't be surprised when you create a circus and then people behave like clowns.
That's true.
Like, this has been a problem for a long time and people are just overcorrecting for it. You need to push back? Yeah, exactly. Off topic, are you going to play Tower of Fantasy? Am I going to play Tower of Fantasy? No, I wasn't really planning on playing Tower of Fantasy today. Yeah, I don't think so. The end game you saw earlier is not diverse enough. Yeah, it doesn't have enough.
I feel like some coin can be.
I don't know, centipedes. I didn't see any centipedes on.
Can be traced to certain undead, so I don't know. What's certain undead? Oh, what is it?
Are you guys ready? Because I'm not. Here we go.
I was an apex killer.
Oh, it's a girl.
Fueled by instinct and adrenaline. Times change, though. And so have I. Now
Don't tell me
I'm
this is a
twice
Rainbow
as
Six new
dangerous.
chapter. Oh no.
Oh man. So you're telling me that this woman can have two fully controlled autonomous robots that move, walk, and shoot like people, but she can't have the legs herself? So you can have a fully operational robot that walks around, but you can't have her with legs that walk around? See, this is the problem with a lot of these like types of inclusion of like characters with disabilities, is that it's so surface level performative that you can immediately tell that no creativity went into this other than the self-aggrandizement of the people who made it, trying to make themselves sound and feel like they're doing a good thing. It's not even motorized chair. Yeah, and also, wait a minute. Yeah, it's not even... She's got a roll...
Times change, though.
She's rolling her own chair around?
What's the game
You're
even
telling me that this fucking, like, bro, if Razer made this wheelchair, it would be like $40,000. This is nuts. What is this? This is a fucking, an elite gamer chair. I don't even understand this. She changed though. It's ridiculous. She's trans also? I'm not sure about that. Doesn't say anything about that.
Ooh, what is it?
Her counter stairs. You're telling me that she can build walking military-grade shooting robots, but not a self-driving wheelchair. What's next? The blind sniper?
Damage.
The wheelchair is a reference to the state of the game. The fuck is this game now? Tom Clancy's coffin spinning all the way to the Earth's core. At this point, just change the name of this game. It has nothing to do with Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. Invent robots, yes. Invent exosuit, no. Exactly. Why not give the person an exosuit? Like, for example, do you want to hear a really good example of diversity? How diversity is done right in a fantasy universe? This is how you do diversity right. So basically, when a space marine is injured and their body is damaged so much beyond repair, if their devotion to the Emperor and the cause is deemed to be worthy enough, they will go through a transformation process to take the remaining parts of their body to then have them fused permanently with the metal to become an instrument of war, a dreadnought in service of the Emperor of mankind. Or you can have this.
Oh yes, the dreadnought laws of...
It's not even close. What are you talking about? It's just sad. It's so fucking sad, bro. Oh my god. That's too ambitious for Ubisoft. I know, it's embarrassing. I know.
I don't have
why
silk.
doesn't one of the robots push her?
Oh yeah, never. I'm gonna be a house today, so...
Great question.
Take loom.
Really good question, man. Also, like, don't you have Wi-Fi? Why would you be... Like, because the odds are, this is the way I think this character will probably play. The character will probably play kind of like Abathur in Heroes of the Storm, if you played that, where it's like the actual unit itself is weak, but then the NPCs they control are powerful. So it's like, what does this tell you? It's basically like, you have to go find the person in a wheelchair and then shoot them because they're easy to kill. It's just her robots? Oh, so she's not even in the game. Wait a minute, that could be wrong. No? Okay. Okay, it's just the robots.
Wait, so...
Oh, man.
Wait, she's not even in the game, then why the fuck you don't even play as her, you play as her robot. So, dude, even... Oh my god. They don't even know what the fuck to do. It would be better if... Oh my fuck. It would be better if you play at her controlling the robot. Rather than, you know, she play at... Oh my god, you play at the robot. God. So dumb.
That would have been really funny if it wasn't. Yeah, they need to make a takedown and PvP by kicking it over. Jesus Christ. Okay, anyway. Wow. What a world. So she's a drone pilot? I guess so. Wanted to post this again because as a handicapped person, I hate this shit. As someone who's paralyzed in a wheelchair, this shit's more disrespecting than anything. I speak for all wheelchair users. No one gives a fuck about having an operator as a wheelchair in the game. Well, here's the thing, man. Is like you ask somebody, like any guy in a wheelchair, you'd be like, okay, do you want to be this? Or do you want to be this? It's not even a fucking question. It's like every single person is gonna fucking say this is badass. This is awesome. It's part of the lore. And this is the issue is that
oh shit, I almost fall.
The problem is that I think that disabilities used to be incorporated into fantasy in ways that were like intelligent, clever, and enhance the story. Like Kargath Blade Fist had like, you know, the Blade Fist, right? And then other people cut off their arms in like solidarity, right? Steampunk, exactly. It was innovative, it was respectful. And like now I feel like a lot of disability inclusion with video games are, this is, dude.
They're not even inclusion, it's just there.
Bro, it's so fucking sad. Exactly, yes. Even this guy knows. Bro, it's just so fucking sad. What is this?
Like, it's just, they just there to, like, get some pity for.
It's ridiculous. Is that real? Yes, it is. It's real. I just... It's so outrageous, man. That's not real. I'm still upset about WoD expansion. It could have been so good. I just think this is the same... I just don't think this is the same as Top Scars, for example. A wheelchair can be a style choice. Yeah, but like, the problem is that I don't know about every person that's handicapped, but I'll tell you this. If I was handicapped, let's say I had my arm cut off. Would I want to have no arm? Or would I want to have a robot arm like Will Smith in iRobot?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh. Oh, God, I don't know. Oh, jeez. Yeah, or Bucky, right? Yeah, exactly. The Winter Soldier. There you go. Yeah, it's not even a fucking, it's not even a question. It'd be fucking badass. Yeah, Darth Vader. Yeah, look at, Darth Vader is a perfect example. Yes, and then like also Darth Vader is such a good example because like in the lore of Star Wars, Darth Vader's suit is actually causing him pain in a way that's unnecessary because Palpatine wanted that to happen as like a punishment for him losing the fight, and also so he could always maintain power over Darth Vader. So like there's all these like levels of depth and complexity to it, and nowadays
nothing, it's just there.
Nowadays this is your representation.
Dude, it's so fucking bad for the representation. If you just like, oh yeah, here's your representation, just some chick in the wheelchair.
This is you.
That's
so
so
was
fucking
cool when in Doctor Strange, the guy who was disabled was up and playing basketball because he was already healed and meeting the teacher. That's sci-fi fantasy. I know, man. If someone had a wheelchair IRL as a style choice, would it be disrespectful? I think that it is. It's very hard to say, right? But I think that it's basically... This is my opinion, right? I think that the inclusion of people with disabilities should not be focused on what they don't have. It's on about how they are still able to contribute and be part of a team instead.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the best way to treat somebody with a disability is to treat them like somebody who doesn't have a disability. Obviously, you know, there are some cases where that's not possible, but in general, I think that's the best way to humanize and to take a person like that seriously. Because like otherwise, I feel like you're patronizing them, you're speaking down to them, or you're infantilizing them in a way that being in a wheelchair doesn't make you a child. Being in a wheelchair doesn't make you a lesser person. You just can't fucking walk because you're fucked up. So I think that it should be like representation of characters that have disabilities. I think that you don't need to give somebody a disability and then take away their autonomy and then take away their dignity. I think in a lot of cases. And I feel like giving people that have disabilities a dignified type of representation that's not just one-dimensional, one-for-one in real life is much more meaningful to I think, right? I'm not disabled really, right? So I don't know this, but I'm thinking if this was me, this is what I would want to feel. And I think that would be better. The fact that they get constantly reminded of their IRL disabilities. I play WoW to escape. Yeah, exactly. And so that's how I see it, right? Is like it's a focus, like with Warhammer, it's a focus on power, autonomy, and it's turned into a good thing. In this, I feel like it's just very surface level. You know, look at us, look how much we care about people that are disabled. It's embarrassing. It's just virtue signaling as well. Yeah.
That's just fucking dumb. Like, you don't even play at her. You don't even play at the girl in the wheelchair. Like, you don't even, like... It would be better if she operated, like, you know, like, game. In the game, like, you play at her, but you hide in the corner and hide and play. Like, basically, like, just hide and seek, right? It would be way better if that shit was thing. But no, you have to, like, play at the robot. And so, I don't play the Rainbow Six, so is she even appear in the map, or she should be behind the camera in somewhere and let people chasing and die? That is either dumb, it is insane, stupid thing. It would be better if you play at her controlling the drone, or the robot, not the drone. Yeah, a robot, and just let her in the game. It's probably way better. I'm so glad I never played Rainbow Six. Like, four-person shooter is not my type game. It looked fun though, but it's not my type game. I'm the only third-person shooter game I ever play is like the I forgot that name. Oh, it's Black Ops? I think that was like a zombie and what the- ah shit, that's wrong. My bad. And Team Fortress 2. I believe Team Fortress is insanely good game to play. It's so fun. But the main thing is a lot of like, people a lot of people in Team Fortress try really hard for some reason. But it's just a game to play fun. Like, you play on 2 Fort, why do you just you play on 2 Fort? Why do you just like that? Let's see something else. Chandelier. Bam. Nice sound. I need to make cell. Hold on. Can I even mix? What does string do anyway? I forgot what's. Oh, never mind. There's nothing. They have hex buffer, a small compartment to protect the holder from negative stuff from cursed essence. Does that mean I cannot play cursed essence? Is it max prevent control? Oh, so basically, if you put the cursed essence in here, so you don't get the mob enhancement anymore. Should I go for JoJo? But could you use the master JoJo skill? It could be fun to go for JoJo only play too. But yeah. Damn it. Okay, let's watch something. Yeah. What, the day before scamming it? No, I'm not gonna watch this video, so. I'm trying to find a good video to watch while playing. Akira. Hmm. I Is there no thing to watch? What? He. Oh my. Oh yeah, I haven't finished watching the unknown gang of Terraria Japanese. This is like a really famous case in the
Keep an
Japanese.
eye out for a white flag.
Yeah.
Once you see it, throw the bag of money out the window. The undercover investigator followed most of the instructions, although he sat in the first car of the train instead of the instructed second last car. This was to hopefully make the criminals in the train look for the man with the cash, effectively revealing themselves. But on their journey, the undercover investigator never saw the white flag. What they did notice, however, was a suspicious man always within eyesight of the investigator carrying the cash. He was described to be physically large, with slightly curly hair, thin lips, and glasses, but one defining feature would become his namesake: his eyes, described by the police as fox-like. He would soon be known as the Fox-Eyed Man, becoming one of the only suspects involved in the case.
Oh my god!
Throughout the ride, police report that the Fox-Eyed Man was behaving strangely and always within eyesight of the undercover officer carrying the money. When they finally reached Kyoto Station, having never seen the white flag, the undercover investigators got off the train, followed closely by the Fox-Eyed Man. As they entered the station to plan their next move, the fox was always within eyesight, but their suspicions would be heightened when they noticed that as they were boarding the train to return to Takatsuki Station, the Fox-Eyed Man had boarded as well. Now realizing that they were clearly being followed, the undercover officers called their headquarters and asked whether they could apprehend the man, but they were told that they could not intervene until the man touched the bag with the money.
What is that?
The idea was that if they had arrested a suspicious man, they could simply say that they didn't know anything about the group or the investigation, and the police wouldn't be able to pursue them further. Stuck, all the officers could do was watch the fox as the fox watched them. Eventually, upon returning to Takatsuki Station, he disappeared into the crowd. Now, after another failed money handoff, the police were no closer to apprehending the monster, but what they did finally have was their first real suspect. But even with this small breakthrough, there was still only so far a lead can go, and with more and more threatening letters pouring in, the monster was starting to make good on its promises.
Oh no.
For the next few weeks, the monster continued to harass Maradai Foods, sending them on useless scavenger hunts and threatening to put cyanide in their products. But ultimately, no money from Maradai was ever handed over to the monster, and the monster, just as before, lost interest in Maradai, setting their sights on yet another food corporation.
So they should do it for
This
fun?
time, Morinaga. Morinaga was another well-known and popular candy company in Japan and worldwide. They were seen as the competitor to Glico, and were benefiting greatly as their products had filled in the gaps that Glico had left wide open. But unfortunately for them, they wouldn't see these profit margins for long. On September 12th, after 2 months of silence, they received their own letter from the monster. It stated that if they did not want to suffer the same fate as Glico, they were to give the group around $400,000. Attached with the note was 30 grams of sodium hypochlorite, or more commonly known as bleach. Little did Morinaga know, this was an ominous warning for what was coming.
They're actually doing it,
The
yeah.
company
I heard.
subsequently did try to collect the money and complete the handover. Just like the previous attempted handoffs, they were directed over the phone, this time by the recorded voice of a child, to drop the money off in a marked location.
So I think they just tell a kid to read the thing out. So yes, that like no way a child could do it, right?
But no one ever showed up to claim it. Assuming this was the work of a copycat, the police in Morinaga moved on from the incident, but they would soon be reminded of it in a scathing and dangerous letter in October of 1984,
Oh, they're actually doing it.
addressed to Mothers of the Nation, sent to and published by media outlets across Japan. It read, "To moms throughout Japan. In autumn, when appetites are strong, sweets are really delicious. When you think sweets, no matter what you say, it's Morinaga. We've added some special flavor. The flavor of potassium cyanide is a little bitter. It won't cause tooth decay, so buy the sweets for your kids.
Why?
We've attached a notice on these bitter sweets
you
that
want-
they contain poison."
But if you want to attack a company, you should do it with company. You attack the general public. This just make people hate you even more. Like most of the people in general public doesn't do anything. They just basically you terrorizing the majority of everyone. It's just fucking dumb. Like this is why I never like the people who attack other people because they think they're better. They think like they should their cause is better than innocent people. Like if you attacking random people, you basically just trash to me. Like I don't give a shit. Is your ideology? Is your ideology harming innocent people? Yeah, fucked off.
We've put 20 boxes in stores from Hakata to Tokyo. Although this was a threat the monster had made before, this time it seemed they were serious. In the following week, upon investigating the candy shelves of stores across the prefecture of Osaka and its neighboring prefectures, dozens of boxes were marked with a note. "Danger, contains poison. You'll die if you eat this. The monster with 21 faces." When opened, these packages were found to have indeed been poisoned with sometimes lethal doses of sodium cyanide. Furthermore, although these packages had been clearly marked, in a later letter sent to various stores and food companies, the monster stated that, "We are preparing 50 candies. In 20 of them, there's a poison sign. In 30 of them, there's nothing written. It'll be like a treasure hunt. Next, we will prepare 100 of them." This time, the monster had followed up on its threat, and Morinaga, as well as all stores and supermarkets selling Morinaga products, were sent into panic.
Yeah.
The National Police Agency issued an emergency order to local police to patrol supermarkets and department stores. Stores from across Japan were pulling Morinaga products from their shelves.
I believe the reason why it's so hard to pinpoint people from committing crime is just because of the way people do back then, like the way they doesn't character. They doesn't have like much like DNA evidence or like camera CCTV like this modern day. That's why back then it's so easy for a lot of like criminals to get away with a crime. So yeah, it's fucking scary. Like back then nobody knows serial killer exists, and now look at it. Like how many crime back? Like do you look at it? Like do you think how many crime back then people? Like how many serial killer back then got away with it because of not enough evidence and the incompetent people, incompetent cop. Quite scary, yeah, like quite scary.
And the company was forced to recall thousands of items and test them for poisoning, as their sales dipped almost 60%. With the loss of millions in sales and a significant dip in their stock price, the company was forced to let go of hundreds of employees, reducing production by over 50%. With so many of Japan's most profitable companies being nearly destroyed by an anonymous criminal, the government had to step in, encouraging investors to buy up Morinaga stock. Morinaga themselves created a new product. Their 1,000 yen packs were an assortment of products packed in bags that Morinaga workers would directly sell to customers using kiosks to try to recover sales. Trying to quell the chaos, the police combed through any piece of evidence they could find. CCTV footage, eyewitness statements, and the letters themselves were used to figure out who the monster could be, and for all their efforts, they were able to come up with one more suspect. The videotape man, as he was referred to later by police, was caught on security camera footage in a local family mart. The original security footage wasn't the best video quality and made it very hard to see the person's face or what he was doing. But after enhancing the video, this is what the police at the time saw. The man appeared to be between 20 and 40 years old, around 5'7", with glasses and a baseball cap. He was wearing a business suit, but did not stand out to investigators until later in the clip, where he approached one of the shelves in the store and seemed to be putting a small box onto the shelf. This only became suspicious when, around 20 minutes after the man had left, the owner of the store noticed the box, which was a Morinaga product, and knowing that they didn't sell Morinaga products, went to remove it. It was only when the owner saw the monster's note placed on the candy that he reported this incident to police, at which point they went through the store's security camera footage. Finally, the police had a second suspect and broadcasted the man on every news channel, putting out ads and posters, hoping that someone would be able to identify him, but no one ever did. Although, with only 2 suspects and many more letters pouring in, the police and companies were trying everything they could to bring the monster to justice and end its months-long hold on Japan's food industry. Meanwhile, the letters from the monster continued, taunting the police, giving them clues, and demanding more money.
I think it's two
But after a few
like,
letters
no way,
and
just
no
one
response,
group, right?
again, the monster would shift its focus from Morinaga to its next victim, House Foods. House Foods Corporation is, like the other victims of the monster, one of the largest food manufacturers in Japan. And just like the others, was sent a letter demanding 100 million yen in a backdoor transaction without the police involved, or else they would do the same as Glico and Morinaga. House Foods, of course, did tell police, but the police decided to keep House Foods' involvement in the case a secret, so as to not further publicize the monster or provoke them further. Their demand, almost routine at this point, was 100 million yen split into 2 50 million yen bags, as they were told to wait with the money outside of a restaurant in Kyoto. So, on the day of the expected transaction, 2 investigators from the Osaka Prefectural Police, posing as House Food employees, waited outside of the Sato restaurant in a van with the money. The monster, via recorded phone call, then instructed them to go to a nearby bus stop to read a letter that had been attached to the bus stop's bench. They were then instructed to stop at a service area in Otsu and retrieve another letter, but while they were there, they noticed a suspicious man. He was in a phone booth near the investigators and had the receiver up to his ear, watching the van with the money. This man was later determined to be the fox-eyed man that the police failed to catch a few months earlier. But while the police officers tried to approach the man, he quickly left the scene. Wanting to chase him, they called their headquarters about the sighting, asking for permission to apprehend the man, but again, they were denied, as the plan was only to arrest someone after they tried to take the money from the van, or in other words, catch them red-handed.
So they want red-handed, but they don't.
Police were unable to catch the fox-eyed man, and for the rest of the day, they continued to participate in the scavenger hunt for letters that the monster had created for them.
So fucking dumb.
Eventually,
They want to
they were
call someone
told to drive
red-handed.
towards Nagoya and look for a white cloth, at which point they would supposedly find a bucket or a can nearby with a letter inside. However, upon finding the cloth tied to a fence on the Meishin Expressway, the bucket was nowhere to be found, and without any further communication from the monster, the operation was called off. Although, unbeknownst to the investigators, at around the same time that they had called off the operation, Shiga Prefectural Police, who weren't aware of the transaction that was taking place, had spotted a white van idling near the location where the white cloth was found. At first, it didn't seem like anyone was in the car, but upon shining a light at it, it seemed a man was in the driver's seat, fiddling with a handheld radio in an earpiece. But before police could go up to the car and question the man, he quickly drove off, and while the police did try to chase him, the man eventually lost them. But not all hope was lost, because within the same hour, police had found the vehicle abandoned nearby, and with a treasure trove of belongings left in the car. They later learned that it had been stolen from another prefecture, and had also been installed with a police radio, allowing him to tune into police conversations. Along with that, they found wire, rope, a bag, tape, and gloves, among other things. And while this confirmed that the suspicious man in the car that night was most likely part of the group, no fingerprints were found, and nothing significant came of the items found in the car. Now, this whole ordeal had inadvertently set a lot of things in motion. 1. The fox-eyed man was seen and lost again at the Otsu service area. Hoping for the help of the public in identifying him, the police released a sketch of the fox-eyed man. Second, for the length of the investigation, the police had done their best to keep the details of the case under wraps to avoid unnecessary public panic. But now, about a year in, with shockingly few leads, they divulged what they needed to. With this, the Japanese police had further opened themselves up to criticism, and criticized they were. The Japanese public had already started losing faith in the police after a series of corruption claims against them, but after failing to catch these extortionists, as they were called in newspapers, who had been poisoning candy for over a year, the papers and people had more than enough. Crime experts started calling this a theatrical crime, a type of crime where the perpetrator tries to act in a way that will get as much attention as possible. Newspapers of the time described the situation in which the companies and the police were the puppets, and the monster was the puppet master, forcing the puppets to run around aimlessly on pointless operations for the enjoyment of themselves and the public. Evidently, after dozens of letters and many unsuccessful money handoffs, the actions of the police could only be described as such. Some newspaper editorials had even started saying, "We do not recall a case in which criminals have made such fools of the police." All this negative press and pressure did not look good for Japanese authorities, as the press seemed to be looking for someone to hold responsible for this mess of an ordeal. So in search of someone to blame, officials found the superintendent of the Shiga police, Shoji Yamamoto,
Oh, they put blame on the
as the
head
person
there.
in charge of the prefectural police that let the man in the car that night get away. It was becoming increasingly clear that he was taking the brunt of the consequences, and was therefore relieved of his position as the superintendent and instead reassigned to the National Police Agency. This was not taken lightly, as Yamamoto had personally apologized to the public for failing to capture the fox-eyed man, considering it an unforgivable failure in his career to serve the public. But little did he know, what he would do next would finally lead to the end of the monster forever.
Yeah, he committed suicide, I think.
On August 7th, 1985, only days after being dismissed as superintendent, Shoji Yamamoto doused himself in kerosene and set himself on fire in the backyard of his home. Although he did not explicitly state that his embarrassment in handling the case was the reason for his self-immolation, many could not help assuming it played a significant part. He died the same day. Only a few days later, on August 12th, the monster would send its final letter. Yamamoto of Shiga Prefectural Police died. How stupid of him. It's Yoshino or Shikata who should have died. What have they been doing for as long as 1 year and 5 months? Don't let bad guys like us get away with it. There's many more fools who want to copy us. No career Yamamoto died like a man. As a side note, describing Yamamoto as a non-career officer is more of a compliment in this context, as a non-career or non-commissioned officer means someone who entered the prefectural police at the lowest level and worked their way up, as opposed to a career or commissioned officer who entered the police at a higher rank. Anyway, back to the letter. So we decided to give our condolences. We decided to forget about torturing food-making companies. If anyone blackmails any of the food-making companies, it's not us, but someone copying us. We are bad guys. That means we've got more to do other than bullying companies. It's fun to lead a bad man's life. Monster with 21 faces. After this final letter, the group was never heard from again. Over the monster's almost 17-month reign of terror over Japanese food companies, the police were only able to come up with a few theories, and even fewer suspects. The information they had to rely on was very minimal, with some of the only solid evidence coming from the various letters. Apart from these letters, they also had voice recordings from the calls that the monster had made, although these were usually believed to be pre-recorded. One of them sounded like a woman and the other like a young boy, but there was no confirmation that the people speaking in these calls were actual members of the monster's group. The only times in which a real person was involved in the crime was during the kidnapping of Katsuhisa Izaki and the abduction of the girl and her boyfriend during the June 2nd money handoff. And in both of these instances, the perpetrators were masked, so the victims had never had a clear look of their faces. Regardless, the police investigated the few items of evidence they did have, starting with the letters. Early on in the investigation, when the police still had very few leads, the monster had included this in a letter. "You seem to be at a loss, so why not let us help you? The typewriter we used is Panwriter." This specific typewriter was sold by the Japan Typewriter Company back in the 1980s, and while Japanese police at the time did investigate the number and location of the units sold, they fell short of finding any significant leads. The typewriter the monster used had a grid of around 2,000 characters, where the user would have to aim a pointer and choose the option they wanted one by one to type a sentence out. But the characters and words used in the monster's letters specifically seem to be those that are common in the Kansai dialect, originating from the Kansai region of Japan, where Osaka is located. For example, in one of the first letters sent by the monster, while describing the police, they use the word aho, which means stupid in the Kansai dialect, but in standard Japanese, the word would be baka. Again, later in the letter, when explaining the kind of car they used, they say tsukota, which means to use, when in standard Japanese, it would have been tsukata. This might have given investigators a clue as to where the monster had or still lived, but again, this observation didn't lead to much. The next piece of tangible evidence that they had was the voice recordings of the woman and child that were played for police during various handoffs. As stated previously, the recordings were pre-recorded, and it seemed as though the people were reading off a piece of paper. At first, investigators had thought that the first taped voice was a woman, around her 30s or 40s. However, with later, closer analysis, it was determined to be that of a girl in junior high school, and the other voice a boy around 5 or 6 years old. Having one of the voice recordings be voiced by a child was also suspicious, as many assumed that they had forced the child to say the words, while others pointed out that in the monster's June 26th letter, he stated, "In our group, there's a 4-year-old kid. Every day he cries for Glico," indicated that there are children involved with the group in some capacity. Could this have been the child from the recording? With no evidence, we'll never know. In fact, there are still many things we do not know about the monster. One of those mysteries stumped police for months during the investigation. This was the mystery of the monster's motive. Originally, during the event that started it all, the abduction of Katsuhisa, the monster had stated that they wanted a ransom in exchange for the safe release of Glico's president, and a hefty ransom at that, now considered the largest ransom demand in Japanese history. Even after the initial abduction, the group continued to make monetary demands during their attempted extortion of food companies, leading police to believe that their motive, above all else, was monetary gain. But as time went on, the grounds for this assumption continued to get weaker and weaker. Every time the police or the companies attempted to complete a money handoff, the group was nowhere to be seen. Even after following each of their elaborate instructions, from printing cryptic ads in the local papers to going on a wild goose hunt to find drop-off locations, when the money was dropped off, no one was ever there to pick up, meaning the monster with 21 faces never actually received any money in their 17 months of harassing the Japanese food industry.
So they just do it for fun?
This begged the question, was their motive monetary gain at all? The answer, some speculated, was yes, but not in the way that you'd think. Although the monster never received money from the companies or police, there was still no question that their influence was massive. During their poisoning campaign, their threats alone forced the Glico Corporation to lose millions of dollars in profits, lay off hundreds of employees, and drop the Glico stock price to shocking levels. Although one day, after months of extortion and harassment, with apparently no material gain on their end, the monster just decides to leave Glico alone. In their June 26 letter, they state, "We're satisfied. The president of Glico has already gone around with his head hanging down long enough. We would like to forgive him." Now both the police and Glico confirmed that they never gave the monster any money or reached any deal with them, so why did they suddenly drop their demands towards Glico? This is where the stock manipulation theory begins. Some speculate that the purpose of these very public extortion attempts and demands was to drive the Glico stock price down, so that either the group or some other benefactor can buy up stock at their lowest. Then when they had bought the shares that they needed, the group would drop their criminal demands towards Glico and move on to another food company. This way, when the next company is being targeted and they are forced to pull their products off of shelves, the previous company can fill in the gaps, driving their stock price up again. This would then happen over and over for the dozens of companies affected. Now, although the stock manipulation theory was one of the most popular among investigators and those following the case, there was never any real evidence that could support it. There were no suspects behind the stock manipulation, and all evidence for it was theoretical, meaning no action could be taken by police. Although, one thing we do know for certain is that the whole ordeal was first targeted towards Glico, then spiraled into an issue that impacted dozens of food manufacturing companies across Japan. But why did the monster focus most of their efforts on Glico? Burning parts of Glico factories, leaving chemicals on their premises, and even kidnapping the president of the company was something none of the subsequent companies had to deal with. This fact has led investigators to formulate the following theory, that the monster was a former disgruntled employee of the Glico Corporation, who left the company on bad terms and decided to find a way to get back at them. This theory was supported at first by the fact that the act that started it all was the abduction of Glico's president, Katsuhisa Izaki, which required an immense amount of planning to execute. Whoever planned the kidnapping needed intimate knowledge of the president's life, including when he would get home, what kind of alarm system he had, and who might have an extra key to his house. Apart from the insider knowledge needed to pull off the abduction, the perpetrator also seemed to have access to the Glico factories and knowledge of their inner workings to be able to leave containers of acid inside their factories unseen. In comparison to the other extortion attempts at different companies like Maradai Foods and Morinaga, the Glico attacks seemed to be more complex, requiring knowledge that was not widely known. These attacks also felt more brutal, starting with the kidnapping and continuing into car fires and factory break-ins. Whoever was behind it all seemed to have a deeply held resentment of Glico. Although there were very few suspects that they could reliably name that fit this description, one suspect came to mind, and that was Manabu Miyazaki. Miyazaki had a long and fraught history with Glico. The theory goes that it started with a tense labor dispute with Glico back in 1975. He then became a whistleblower, exposing Glico's crimes of dumping industrial waste into the local water supply between 1977 and 1978. For a man who had spent so long at odds with the Glico Corporation, investigators could not help but wonder whether he had sought his justice in another, more dangerous way. Physically, Miyazaki also matched the physical descriptions of the fox-eyed man as well as the videotaped man, further indicting him, in the eyes of the police, as the face behind the monster. Although, how could one man have run an entire food industry into the ground?
Yeah.
It was obvious that there were multiple people involved in the group, as there were at least 3 people who took part in the Katsuhisa's kidnapping, and at least 2 who were involved in the abduction of the couple during the June 2nd money handoff, as well as the many parts of the letter that mention a group. So where did this criminal group come from? To answer this question, many turned to Manabu's family tree, where only one generation before him, Manabu's father, was a local Yakuza boss, the Yakuza being responsible for much of the organized crime in Japan. Many believe that through Manabu's Yakuza connections and his own intimate knowledge of the inner workings of Glico, he was able to pull off a series of abductions, poisonings, and threats that brought the Japanese food industry to a standstill. Although, that's what some would have you believe. But those who rely on the rule of law will tell you that Manabu Miyazaki had airtight alibis and evidence in his defense for every implication and accusation thrown at him. After much investigation and interrogation, Miyazaki was eventually cleared of all suspicion, even writing a book later on recounting his experiences in the Japanese underworld. He remains the only suspect the police were ever able to name. With a total of around 1.3 million investigators and officers involved in the case since 1984,
No one
the Glico
found.
Morinaga case remains one of the greatest corporate mysteries in post-war Japan. Crimes to this scale were few and far between at the time, and coupled with the monumental kidnapping of Glico's president, the exorbitant ransom demand, and the widespread threat to the public, Japan's fear of the monster with 21 faces moved out of folklore and into the real world, with real-life consequences. In the years following their disappearance, Japanese police worked tirelessly to try to bring the monster to justice, but unfortunately, to no avail. Apart from a few dead-end leads, police never found anyone who could be linked to the group, and after their last and final push before the turn of the century, their time eventually ran out. The statute of limitations for the kidnapping of Katsuhisa Izaki expired in 1994, and was quickly followed by the expiry of the statute of limitations for the charges of mass poisoning and attempted murder in 2000.
Dude, why is that
The
even a
case was
thing?
officially
Yeah.
closed on February 13, 2000, and in the almost 40 years since that fateful kidnapping, the monster with 21 faces has never been unmasked.
Why even a thing? Like, why is the case expanded, expired? Like, is there a lot of cases similar to this? Say so to me. Oh, yeah. It's kind of scary if you think about it. Like, a group of people can just man can just do all this shit. It's back in the 90s, so like the technology is not even that good. Maybe it easily good, but not like over overwhelming type of stuff. Yeah. Whew. Good video. No, really good video. Like I really pay attention. Like, to be honest, I don't know. Is the theory about the people who manipulate it, the stock market, is really possible? Because like they didn't take the money. Because if they take the money, they could be discovered. So they do it in the shadow, and they do it one by one by one by one. So it's possible, but like too many people buying stocks, so
Before
you
we
don't know.
start, we want to mention our sponsor for this video, Surfshark VPN, whose services helped us while researching this case. If you've ever wanted to access a website or movie only accessible in certain countries, use public Wi-Fi to access private information safely, or just see how browsing would look
I
like
think I'm
in
just
another
gonna
location, Surfshark VPN will allow you to do just that.
another
For
check.
us, we have used this to gain access to websites in the UK
Oh, look,
that we
look what's
wouldn't
so
otherwise
hot.
be able to in Canada. This makes surfing the web a smoother and more
Really
streamlined
hot in the
process.
Gulf.
Now all this sounds great, but what makes Surfshark different from other VPNs is the sheer number of features that come with the product. CleanWeb cleans any website of ads, trackers, and malware. The kill
Okay.
switch can shut off your
One
internet
thing
if your
that
data becomes vulnerable,
I want to
and like
get
the
a
cherry on
closet.
top, Surfshark protects an unlimited number of devices. Their lowest plan is just $3 a month for 2 years.
Okay, this video is a data of princess, and it is it video? They have something called as a 30 morning 31 of 1997 Princess Diana. So yeah, date of Princess Diana. It almost 1 hour long.
The marriage of Diana's parents was breaking down. Diana herself recalls, "It was a very unhappy childhood, always seeing my mother crying. Daddy never spoke to us about it. We never asked questions." It was only a few years later that the highly anticipated male heir was born, and a few years after that Diana's parents had gotten a divorce, an event that Diana later recalled as the biggest disruption in her childhood. Growing up in the park house of the Sandringham estate, Diana essentially lived on the royal family's property for much of her childhood. although she would really only see the royal family when they were on holidays or when they visited the park house, which wasn't very often. By the time Diana was ready for boarding school, she recalls feeling different or rejected from the other students. Although Diana liked school itself, she was known to be a bit of a troublemaker, one night running half a mile in the dark after curfew to get some treats, before being caught and almost getting herself expelled.
What?
In the following years,
Why don't-
Diana would continue her schooling in various institutions.
Why do people get
and by
mad
the
at her
time she
just
turned
running
18,
around,
Diana,
buying
now referred to as Lady Diana, had grown more independent, wanting to spread her wings in something that was her own. And so, Diana moved into a flat in London where she stayed with 2 school friends. But because she didn't have much work experience, she ended up working a string of low-paying jobs, finding particular interest in working with children. Although, Diana wouldn't truly enter the spotlight until her relationship with Prince Charles. When the Prince and Diana
What
first
is
met
that?
in 1977, Charles was the 29-year-old heir apparent to the throne, meaning once his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, died, he was guaranteed next in line to the crown. Diana, on the other hand, was only 16 years old and described herself at the time
Hello?
as a fat, podgy, no-makeup, unsmart lady.
Hello?
In fact, at the time of their first meeting, Prince Charles was dating Diana's older sister, but over time, it seemed that the prince was warming up to Diana herself. Once they did begin dating in 1980, when Diana was 20, it took less than a year for the prince to propose, and upon saying yes and telling the prince how much in love with him she was, he responded, "Whatever in love means," the infamous phrase he repeated in a televised interview after their engagement announcement.
That she's been brave enough to take me on.
And I suppose in love.
Of course.
Oh, goddamn.
Although, for the most part, things
That
were picture
weird
perfect, with the
He
people
may be
instantly
just
loving
act
Diana
weird.
for her shy nature and distinguished fashion sense. And now with the royal wedding on the horizon, the media honed in on the couple. This point in Diana's life, although exciting on the surface, was when things were slowly starting to fall apart. For one, before the wedding, Diana was put in Buckingham Palace by herself and was essentially isolated from Prince Charles, who always seemed to be busy with other duties. Also, since Diana essentially became a celebrity overnight, she effectively lost all privacy. For example, at the time, she was still learning how to drive, so every time she would try to practice, her car would be chased. Although, in the midst of this chaos, and unbeknownst to others, Diana was also suffering from bulimia, partly because of the history of eating disorders in her family, as well as the heightened stress and anxiety that came with her new life.
Dude, I feel like
Nevertheless, after many private and
paparazzi
even public breakdowns,
should never
Diana
fucking
reluctantly
get
decided to go through with the marriage, and so
you should
a few
able
months
to
later,
sue
in July
paparazzi
1981,
for like
the marriage became
introducing
official,
your private life.
naming Diana the Princess of Wales. But as their relationship progressed, it quickly became clear that there was a problem. Even before the marriage, Diana knew about the other woman.
Oh.
Camilla Parker Bowles was a past lover of Prince Charles, but their relationship had supposedly ended long before Charles had met Diana. Despite the constant reassurance that nothing was going on, Diana couldn't help but notice how the two would always send each other gifts, call each other by their own nicknames, and how Camilla had seemingly endless advice on how to treat Charles. He even owned a pair of cufflinks with 2 C's intertwined, representing Charles and Camilla, but when confronted about it, he said it was just a gift between friends. Now, a whole video could be made about the marriage and how it went so wrong, so we won't go into too much detail, but some factors are important in the context of her death. For one, the marriage got off to a rough start, with Diana's bulimia getting worse, later saying that she threw up 4 times a day, and with Charles obsessed by Camilla totally. She recalls the pregnancy of William, the couple's first
Actually,
child,
that's showing
being a
environment,
godsend in
right?
helping her occupy
Inventory.
her
So you
mind.
basically
However, because of the pregnancy, her health was at an all-time low, and with no support from any staff and dismissal from Charles, this is when Diana says was her first suicide attempt.
oh no.
She recalls that, after an argument with Charles, she threw herself down the stairs and was found by the Queen, who was absolutely horrified. Fortunately, neither she nor the child were severely injured, and Diana later said, "I was just so desperate. I knew what was wrong with me, but nobody else around me understood me. It was a desperate cry for help. I'm not spoiled. I just needed time to adapt to my new position." Nevertheless, only 2 years later, Diana gave birth to the couple's second child, Harry. And as the Prince and Princess of Wales continued to do public visits, the couple, but more specifically Diana, would be met with crowds and crowds of photographers, as public interest had shifted more towards her than to Charles. In the following years of their marriage, both Diana and Charles would have affairs with different people, setting off their own respective scandals. The Diana-gate scandal came after an intimate phone call between Diana and James Gilby, a childhood friend, was recorded and published. And Camilla-gate, another intimate phone call that happened a few days earlier between Charles and Camilla, that was also recorded and published. After this became public knowledge, the couple announced that they would separate, but not formally divorce.
It is announced from Buckingham Palace that with regret, the Prince and Princess of Wales have decided to separate. Their Royal Highnesses have no plans to divorce, and their constitutional positions are unaffected.
Although, the tipping point that sent the couple into divorce is widely believed to be the now famous interview that Diana had done with the BBC in 1995, where she details her relationship with Charles, among other things. Again, a whole video could be made about just this interview itself, but all we need to know is that it, among other factors, led to the couple's divorce a year later, in 1996. And so, amidst the mounting controversy and escalating turmoil of her personal life, the stage was set for the shocking and dramatic turn of events that would take place in the following year. In the days leading up to her death, Diana was facing some of the same problems she'd been facing for years, and that was the paparazzi. At this point, Diana and Prince Charles had been divorced for almost a year, and had been separated for around 6. During this time, the press, as always, were watching her actions closely, ready to report on any and everything she did. That's why, when Diana accepted an invitation to spend time with an old friend in the summer of 1997, it became the focus of the media's attention. As photographers and the media were becoming incessant in the UK, Diana had wanted to take her sons to a more private and safe environment in the south of France, somewhere where they could enjoy a family vacation. This caught most by surprise, as the host, businessman Mohammed Al-Fayed, was seen as somewhat controversial in the UK for the bribing of politicians a few years earlier. Nevertheless, Diana joined the family on vacation in Saint-Tropez, but during the trip, some have speculated that Al-Fayed made sure his son, 42-year-old Dodi Fayed, became close with Diana, often encouraging the two to talk and mingle. Now, whether Dodi's father forced this relationship or not, the two became very close during this vacation, and in the months leading up to her death, this new relationship became the main focus of the media's attention. These couple months with Dodi in Saint-Tropez, and later on a yacht in the French and Italian Riviera, changed everything, and it's where some of Diana's most famous paparazzi photos were shot, including this iconic photo. But what really drew the attention of the British public was a series of photos taken of Dodi and Diana kissing on Al-Fayed's yacht. These photos were later published in the Sunday Mirror and sent shockwaves throughout the paparazzi media, as photographers began to realize how much money could be made in covering the Princess of Wales's new and controversial relationship. After this vacation, media attention on the couple grew, with outlets and magazines commenting on everything from her clothes, her weight, and even a rumored pregnancy. As more and more tabloids started picking up the story of the Princess of Wales and Dodi, the Egyptian filmmaker, the paparazzi presence around the duo became incessant, reaching a fatal frenzy on August 31st, 1997. By the end of their vacation in late August, Dodi and Diana had made a final stop in Paris before heading back to London. Their private plane landed in a small airport on the outskirts of Paris at 3:20 p.m., with paparazzi already stationed at the airport to snap their photos as they left the plane. Upon leaving the airport, the princess and Dodi sat in one car driven by Dodi's regular chauffeur, and were taken to Villa Windsor, a home owned by Dodi's father. After meeting up with 2 of their bodyguards, they then drove to the Ritz Hotel, another hotel owned by Dodi's father, where they would frequently stay during their short time in Paris. This is the first place we have security camera footage of the couple's whereabouts. The camera that you see here is pointed at one of the hotel's rear entrances, where Diana and Dodi enter the hotel for the first time, followed by their bodyguard. They are then escorted to an elevator where they stop at the first floor. During the security footage, you'll notice that the times on screen don't quite match up with each other. That's because the cameras in the hotel aren't all synced, although they're usually within 5 minutes of the real time. Anyway, the couple then walk into the Imperial Suite, a suite that's usually described as the crown jewel of the hotel, and starts at $45,000 a night.
45k a night?
Around
What the
an hour
fuck?
later, Dodi leaves the Imperial Suite and goes to a nearby jewelry store, Rapazzi Jewelers, intending to pick up an engagement ring that he'd previously ordered. Now, Many people that were close to Doty, including his butler, have later stated that he was going to propose to Diana either the same or next day. However, many that were close to Diana, including Diana's older sister, many of her friends, and her butler, later said that she was clear that she did not want to get married, even saying to one of her friends over the phone, "I need marriage like I need a rash on my face." Nevertheless, around 7 minutes go by and Doty doesn't actually leave the store with anything except a brochure. He asks the assistant president of the Ritz to grab the rings for him later. Doty himself returns to the Imperial suite. Around an hour later, Diana and Doty finally leave the suite together and decide to go to Doty's apartment, staying there for around 2.5 hours. Throughout their trips around Paris, their car, usually driven by the regular chauffeur Philippe Dorneau, were perpetually followed by paparazzi, but Dorneau, being an experienced driver, did his best to avoid them. Nevertheless, after a few hours at the apartment, Diana and Doty left for a dinner reservation they had at Chez Benoit restaurant, but because of the paparazzi following them during the drive, the chauffeur was told by Doty to change route and head to the Ritz Hotel instead, where they arrived through the main front entrance at around 9:50 p.m. But because of this change of plans, the staff at the Ritz Hotel weren't prepared for them, and when the couple showed up at the main entrance of the Ritz, there was dozens of paparazzi waiting. Upon their arrival at the Ritz, Diana and Doty first attempted to dine at the hotel's restaurant, but chose to go up to their suite and dine there instead. After their dinner, Diana and Doty left their suite at around 12:05 a.m. It was now Sunday, August 31st, 1997. Diana and Doty wanted to spend the rest of the night at their nearby apartment, the same one they went to earlier in the day. With the crowds of paparazzi getting bigger and bigger as the couple was getting ready to leave, a decoy plan was put in place, supposedly by Doty himself. 2 decoy cars, driven by the couple's usual drivers, would be placed in the front of the hotel to distract the paparazzi, and a third Mercedes would pick them up from the back exit, driven by a man named Henri Paul. Henri Paul, although the head of security at the Ritz, was not an accredited chauffeur. At around midnight, security footage shows Henri Paul leading the couple to the Mercedes, but not before photographers were already snapping photos of the couple.
Oh, fucking hell.
Doty and Diana were sat in the back, with Henri Paul driving and Trevor Rhys-Jones, the bodyguard hired by Doty's father to protect the couple, in the passenger seat. No one in the car was wearing a seatbelt. Once the paparazzi had determined that the princess had left the hotel from the rear exit, several paparazzi got in their cars and pursued the vehicle. It was now 12:20 a.m. and Henri Paul was starting the journey to the apartment. Henri drove along the predetermined route, straight on Rue Cambon, a right at Rue Rivoli, and then instead of going straight through the avenue of Champs-Élysées, where they would likely get stuck in traffic, Henri drove along the embankment route of the River Seine. This is what most professional drivers would do, but it was clear that while they were on this road, the paparazzi were hindering his ability to drive properly. Multiple witnesses of the Mercedes were interviewed after the crash. Most said that the Mercedes overtook them and was going very fast. One driver that was on the road recalls, "The car was clearly being chased by several, I would say between 4 and 6 motorcycles. I noticed that the vehicle, which continued traveling in the left-hand lane, was veering from side to side and having trouble keeping its line." A driver that was coming out of the Alma underpass just as the Mercedes was entering recalls, "What struck me was that it was swerving, or to be more precise, it was doing a wide zigzag. I could also see that it was at full throttle." Most professional drivers at this point would take the slip road here and head towards Avenue Marceau or George V, but Henri, for whatever reason, didn't, and headed straight towards the Alma underpass. Maybe the car was going too fast for him to take a slight right, or maybe the paparazzi vehicles were blocking him. Whatever the reason was, the Mercedes, now going around 104 kilometers an hour, made brushing contact with a white Fiat Uno, clipping its rear left bumper, then swerving to the right, then the left, where it crashed directly with the 13th pillar of the Alma underpass. The white Fiat Uno drove past the crash, and neither the vehicle nor the driver have ever been identified. The front of the car was remarkably mangled as the tunnel started filling with smoke. Henri Paul had been pushed against the steering wheel, sounding the horn of the car. At the time of the accident, the first confirmed people to arrive at the scene were multiple paparazzi, as they started taking photos, with some riding away before the police arrived. The first person to give medical aid to the passengers was an off-duty doctor that happened to be riding in the opposite direction when the crash took place. He almost immediately arrived on the scene to find the 4 occupants of the vehicle in varying states of injury. It was clear to him that the driver, Henri Paul, and Dodi Fayed were dead, but the princess, as well as Trevor Rees-Jones, were both still alive, but just barely conscious. He says he heard the princess groaning before calling the Paris fire service. Around 7 minutes later, at 12:30 a.m., the first of the emergency response team arrived, with multiple other police cars and ambulances arriving in short succession. The doctors who tended to the princess on the scene all recall slightly different things, but generally noted that the princess kept saying, "My God," and was moving her head from side to side, looking at what was around her. With the arrival of police, 7 of the paparazzi at the scene were arrested and had their film rolls and cell phones with which they were taking photos confiscated. Despite the medical team's best efforts to stabilize her, immediately after her removal from the vehicle, the princess fell into cardiac arrest, for which she received emergency CPR to restart her heart. Due to the instability of the princess's heart rate and blood pressure, it was not deemed safe to transport her by ambulance from the site of the crash to the hospital. That is, until 1:41 a.m. when Diana's blood pressure finally stabilized, and she began the journey to Pitié-Salpêtrière Hospital, where she arrived at 2:06 a.m. It's important to mention that this hospital was not the closest one to the crash site, and many have stated that the decision to take her to a further hospital was an effort to make sure she didn't survive, but we'll get to that later. Trevor Rees-Jones was then also taken to the same hospital, which took a little longer as he was trapped in the car and could only be removed after authorities cut the roof of the Mercedes off. After arriving at the hospital, it was clear that the princess's injuries were imminently life-threatening. By this point, she was completely unconscious and couldn't breathe on her own. Multiple x-rays were immediately done, showing that the princess was suffering from severe internal bleeding, and while medical staff were trying to find the cause of the bleeding and perform multiple medical procedures to try and stop it, the princess went back into cardiac arrest. But this time, she couldn't be brought back. She was pronounced dead at 4 a.m. Later investigations stated that no other course of action could have been taken by the medical staff to keep her alive. In the hours following her death, external analyses were conducted on the princess to confirm that there was no suspicious circumstances related to her injuries. The pathologist doing the examination concluded that the princess's injuries were consistent with a road traffic collision. And so, her body was partially embalmed while still in Paris. Later that day, both her body and the body of Dodi Fayed were returned to England for a proper burial.
Dude, I blame the goddamn paparazzi for this shit. Like, no fucking way they doesn't, like, killing people.
The sudden news of the death of the Princess of Wales came as a shock to the nation and those around the world. As a much-beloved figure, affectionately coined the People's Princess, a premature and violent death only a year after her official divorce raised concerns and questions from both the public and those close to the incident. It was no secret that Diana was shaking things up within the establishment, as the kind of princess the crown had rarely seen, let alone approved of. For years, she was an outcast from the royal family, a known troublemaker causing discord within the monarchy, and at her death, some began wondering whether this was the perfect way for the establishment to get rid of her. Not to mention, at the time of her death, the mother of the future King of England was dating an Egyptian Muslim man, with some even speculating that they had plans to marry, something that was historically out of the question for a member so close to the royal family. This theory of cover-up and conspiracy had many supporters, the main and most vocal of them being a man who'd faced personal loss in the incident himself, Mohammed al-Fayed, father of Dodi. He claimed that Dodi had plans to marry Diana, even going as far as having a ring made at the Rapassi Jewelers in Paris the night of his death, and that there was even a possibility that Diana was pregnant, but due to the crown's disapproval of a non-white Egyptian Muslim stepfather for the future King of England, they had to rid both Diana and Dodi from the public sphere in a staged car accident jointly put out by MI6.
Who would want them dead? And why would anyone want to kill Dodi and Diana?
Because they still don't accept that Dodi, my son, an Egyptian and Muslim, can be the stepfather of the future king.
It's not easy to know that
some
your child
wild
been slaughtered, right, by bunch of gangsters whom they call themselves the British royal family.
Although seemingly far-fetched, these claims were not made without basis, as there were several very strange inconsistencies the night of the alleged murder. These inconsistencies, and others that came up after the death of the princess, gained so much traction that in 2004, Operation Paget was opened. This over 800-page report, released in 2006, was a years-long investigation by the Metropolitan Police Force into the claims of conspiracy brought up by Mohammed Al-Fayed related to the crash. It's comprised of 16 chapters, each one detailing a new angle of the death that has been scrutinized by the public in its claims of conspiracy, with extensive interviews and investigations into each matter. The report starts with the original conspiracy claim made by Mohammed Al-Fayed that we mentioned previously. Basically, that Prince Philip, the husband of the Queen, had collaborated with quote-unquote security services, assuming that he means the UK's MI6, to arrange the murder of Dodi Al-Fayed and the Princess of Wales. The alleged motive was that the Princess of Wales was pregnant with Dodi Al-Fayed's child, and there was soon to be an announcement for their engagement. It is suggested by Mohammed Al-Fayed that the royal family could not accept that an Egyptian Muslim could eventually be the stepfather of the future King of England. He further alleges that there was a cover-up by the quote-unquote establishment to prevent the conspiracy and murders from coming to light. Now, to continue, and not make this an extremely long video, we'll go through and summarize the evidence that debunks or further proves the claims of conspiracy, as put forth in the Operation Paget report. So let's begin.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
According to some close to the princess, she had been fearing for her life for months prior to her death, and claims that implicated the establishment as the perpetrators in her riddance. One of the most popular quotes used by the media was found in a letter that Diana wrote to her butler, Paul Burrell, in October of 1995, where she states plainly, "This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous. My husband is planning an accident in my car, brake failure and serious head injury, in order to make the path clear for Charles to marry." A scathing accusation, no doubt, one that the investigators took to the highest level, even interviewing the future king himself, Diana's former husband, Prince Charles, with regards to the claim. But according to the investigation, there was apparently no grounds for her concerns. Operation Paget interviewed people close to Diana and asked them what they thought about the letter, to which most responses were either that they saw no reason why Diana would be afraid at that time, and that the letter itself was written in a different way than Diana's usual letters, suggesting that it might have been faked. This concerning letter came about at around the same time that the princess expressed concerns of tampering with her car's brakes, likely by someone from within the government or the establishment. This concern was recounted by her friend Simone Simmons in a letter she had apparently written to her, stating, "Dear Simone, as you know, the brakes of my car have been tampered with. If something does happen to me, it will be MI5 or MI6 who will have done it. Lots of love, Diana."
What the hell?
But her concerns do not stop here. For months between 1995 to 1997, Diana explicitly voiced concerns multiple times regarding her fear that the establishment, MI6 or Prince Philip, were planning to get rid of her, most likely in an accident of some sort, repeating the same fear to multiple people many times. In one instance, she told her friend Robert Deverick after the infamous BBC Panorama interview, "After this, they are going to kill me. I am sure Prince Philip is involved with the security services. After this, they are going to get rid of me." In 1996, she told him, "They don't want to understand me. I'm a threat in their eyes. They are not going to kill me by poisoning me or in a big plane where others will get hurt. They will either do it when I am on a small plane, in a car when I am driving, or in a helicopter." It was made very clear through not only Diana's correspondences with others, but also in her personal conversations with those around her, that she held significant concerns of being murdered by the establishment for years before her death. And many found this not only concerning, but outright damning evidence that Diana, in her own words, knew the exact way they were planning to kill her, making the case for conspiracy all the more stronger. Even in the Operation Paget report, they recognize and acknowledge the overwhelming evidence that the princess was fearing for her life during this time, but also provided statements from many of Diana's friends, claiming that she'd never brought this up with them. In the end, their conclusions only stated that Operation Paget found no supporting evidence to show that there were any grounds for the princess's concerns, even though they were clearly held at the time by the Princess of Wales. Many have argued that one of the main causes, if not the cause, of Diana's death was the incessant and disruptive chase of the paparazzi.
Yup.
Her whole life, the princess had been seemingly tortured by reporters, photographers, and columnists, all desperate for even an ounce of insight into her life, and this was no different the night of her death. With the amount of money they could stand to make, and the standards set by the yacht kiss photos, paparazzi from all over the world were hungry for a shot of the new couple. As discussed earlier, the second Diana and Dodi landed in Paris, they were hounded by the paparazzi, even causing them to change and cancel plans as a result of them.
Dude,
In the
I
moments before
fucking
the
hate that.
crash, it was
Yeah,
the
like, this
paparazzi
is so
who
fucking-
supposedly forced them down the tunnel, and consequently, they were the first ones on the scene. Due to their heavy involvement in the hours leading up to her death, some question why the paparazzi were behaving the way they were, and who notified them of Diana and Dodi's whereabouts, all leading to the final question: did the paparazzi have malicious intent in their actions before the princess's death? Some theorize that the paparazzi were called in by a third party conspiring to cause harm to the princess, and therefore not only tipping off, but actively encouraging the paparazzi to be as intrusive as possible to force an accident like this one. Others suggest that due to the high number of paparazzi chasing the couple through Paris, it wouldn't be unlikely that someone with malicious intent was able to infiltrate the group during the frenzy. Someone who may have been paid by either the establishment or MI6 to ensure that the princess is eradicated in a way that could easily be covered up by an accident. In their report on this theory, Operation Paget set out to identify and question every paparazzi who was present at the Ritz Hotel when Diana and Dodi took their fatal last drive. As mentioned earlier, when the couple left the Ritz for the last time that night, they left through the rear exit with 2 decoy cars leaving from the front to steer the paparazzi away from the real car carrying the princess. Throughout the investigation and the various eyewitness reports and paparazzi testimonies gathered by the investigators, they found that although there were many motorcycles, cars, and scooters that followed the princess's car into the Alma underpass, the accident could not have been caused by any interference on their part. And although the first photographer's actions when they arrived on the scene, which included immediately snapping photos of the princess immediately after the accident, were immoral, they showed no evidence of interfering with attempts to save the princess.
Yeah, right.
Throughout the entire investigation, one of the people who was scrutinized the most by police and media was Henri Paul. As the driver of the car that killed Diana, as well as the head of security at the Ritz, various claims had been made regarding his character, his motives, and his movements the night of the crash. Some, including Mohammed Al-Fayed himself, claimed that Henri was being paid by MI6 or the establishment to insert himself where he should not have been, in the driver's seat of the princess's car, and create a situation that would ultimately kill both her and her boyfriend Dodi. A bold claim, no doubt, and one that took up almost 240 pages of quotes and evidence in the Operation Paget document, making it the longest chapter in the entire report. With the sheer volume of evidence, it was an incredibly difficult task for investigators to analyze all the CCTV footage, witness statements, and various character testimonies that painted a picture of what really happened. But through it all, this is what we determined. As mentioned before, Henri Paul was the head of security at the Ritz Hotel, known by his friends and colleagues to be quiet and reserved, but good at his job, good enough to have a friendly and positive relationship with his higher-ups. As a single man, Paul lived alone and was able to spend his ample salary on his hobbies, one of which included airplanes and flying. All this to say, he was seen as an average man leading a normal life. The night of the crash, Henri had been working in his usual capacity at the Ritz Hotel until around 7 p.m., when his shift was meant to end. Throughout the day, he had been supporting with the coordination of getting the princess and Dodi safely to all their appointments, as they were very high-profile guests, and with the constant threat of paparazzi, his job was made even harder. Although, at 7 p.m., when he was meant to get off work, Henri left the hotel. Now here's where his movements get confusing. Between the hours of 7 to 10 p.m., throughout all the investigations made, no one has ever been able to confirm what exactly Henri Paul was doing in the 3 hours between when he left the Ritz Hotel and when he was called back. Nonetheless, at around 10 p.m., Henri Paul was called back to the hotel by hotel management, telling him that Diana and Dodi, who were originally meant to be dining at a new restaurant in Paris, had decided to return to the Ritz and dine there instead. The hotel, unfortunately, was not notified of this decision, so the princess's return to the Ritz came as a surprise to both the staff and the paparazzi, who immediately swarmed the vehicle while the security had to scramble to regain control. This is when Henri was called back to the Ritz to support with dealing with the situation. Upon his return, CCTV cameras can see that Henri Paul entered through the revolving doors at around 10:07 p.m., after which he greets 2 members of management
I just
at
killed
the
the Chicken
hotel.
King.
The 3 then immediately head for the bar, where they order drinks. In the hours following, Henri is seen on CCTV cameras moving around the hotel, speaking to paparazzi, and having conversations with various hotel guests, staff, and bodyguards. Eventually, Henri is summoned up to the Imperial Suite along with the 2 bodyguards, Trevor Rhys-Jones and Kieran Wakefield. He Here, they are told by Dodi of the decoy plan previously mentioned. According to the bodyguard's statements, neither of them approved of this plan, as it was lacking multiple security measures. Firstly, Dodi was planning for the car to seat only himself, the princess, and a driver, but Rhys Jones insisted that at least one bodyguard should be present with them. Secondly, according to the investigation, it was never confirmed who decided that the car driving Dodi and Diana should be driven by Henry Paul, someone who was not a licensed chauffeur. According to Operation Paget, this plan was put in place very hastily, and in the end resulted in fatal consequences. While being chased by paparazzi through the Alma Tunnel, Henry Paul, going around 104 kilometers an hour, crashed into the 13th pillar of the Alma underpass, killing himself and Dodi Fayed at the scene, and severely injuring the princess and her bodyguard, Rhys Jones. Upon the autopsy following his death, he was found to have a blood alcohol level over 3 times the legal limit in France. Now at the time, the cause of the crash was speculated to have been the result of Henry Paul's intoxication, as well as his high speed going through the tunnel. But Mohammed Al-Fayed disputed that, stating that the narrative that he was drunk was one made by the media to create an alternative explanation to the crash. Henry's alleged drunkenness was meant to cover up the fact that he was paid by MI6 to crash the car purposely and kill the occupants. The evidence for this claim was disputed and investigated heavily throughout the inquest, but overall supported by the fact that neither the bodyguards nor anyone around Henry that night thought that he was intoxicated. Both Trevor Rhys Jones and Kieran Wingfield insist that they had no idea that Henry had been drinking, with Kieran Wingfield even stating that, when we were waiting outside the suite, Henry Paul did come up just before we left. Again, he wasn't drunk. There was no slurring of his words, and when he walked up the corridor, he wasn't falling around. He was quite tactile. He would touch your arm when he was talking to you, and he stood very close to me. I don't smoke and neither does Trevor, and I was close enough to smell cigars on him, but not drink. But the claim was not just supported by the bodyguards, but CCTV as well. Among the hours of CCTV footage caught by the cameras in the Ritz, one moment stood out in particular. At 23:12, Henry Paul bends down and ties his shoelaces. It takes a total of 44 seconds. Among the hours of footage, these few seconds caught investigators' attention, as a man who was apparently heavily intoxicated and 3 times over the legal driving limit was able to tie both his shoes with no issue, further supporting, in the eyes of the theorists, the case for conspiracy. Now, the inquest's decision that Henry Paul was intoxicated was not made without evidence, as we have receipts and CCTV footage that show that he went to the bar at the Ritz and ordered drinks, specifically 2 glasses of Ricard, as bartenders recall serving him these drinks. These statements were also corroborated with the blood taken from Henry Paul's autopsy to show that he had high levels of alcohol in his blood, indicating not only that he'd been drinking at the hotel bar, but also that he'd likely been drinking while he was off work between the hours of 7 to 10 p.m. Although, Mohammed Al-Fayed's rebuttal of this evidence actually comes from various doctors, most notably from a professor of forensic medicine in the University of Glasgow, who stated that the procedures followed to pull blood from Henry Paul's body during the post-mortem analysis was not done up to normal standards, including the identification of the sample, and could have resulted in testing a sample that did not belong to.
Okay, I'm sorry for that shit. I just speak over the videos. My bad. Yeah, like what's something fun? Nobody like kick streamer. Uh-oh.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, DVR. Yes.
Harassing innocent people.
One cloud, give me.
What?
Sucking on his licking Wake's hand.
I want to say one thing left for the stream.
What the fuck happened?
We got frozen. Kick.com is the best streaming platform.
What the fuck happened?
Provoking a dude into a fight?
Oh, get him away. Get him away.
I mean, there's people pushing people into moving trains.
TwitchCon 2024 happened last week, and despite the fact, for the most part, it was a great experience. You know, streamers got to go around streaming. Wow. And obviously one of the...
1 second. Oops. Wait, it cannot capture? My OBS doesn't capture the thing. No fucking way, my OBS doesn't capture this shit.
The best parts of TwitchCon as well is you're able to meet
One
your
second.
favorite parasocial streamers.
If I'm not connected and not available, what the fuck? Huh. You cannot window capture the pop out anymore. Or maybe there like a massive bug or problem with the OBS.
Streamer. There was also lots of fun panels and shows. I didn't end up going to TwitchCon, mostly because of the fact that I don't know if I'm allowed to go to TwitchCon, especially after they soft banned me well over a year ago. Like, I must be the only case on Twitch where someone isn't banned. Like, I still can stream, but there is no way to make any sort of income from it, so that there was just no point. I moved over to YouTube. But one event I will be attending is PAX in Melbourne, Australia. I'll be there for one day only, the 11th of October. We're also selling some exclusive Darkwood posters over there as well, if you already got a shirt and you wanted to double up. All the links for that, by the way, will be down in the description. But I do want to talk about TwitchCon, because I feel like any kind of major streaming event, unfortunately, you get the degenerates. And apparently, during TwitchCon, a lot of the kick streamers had to ruin the fun for everybody, which really isn't surprising, by the way. I feel like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, there'll be like a secret 5th one just called Kick. Yeah, you've got famine, war, pestilence, and then XQC contract. Now, before TwitchCon even started, people already had the memes ready. As you know, Twitter is full of engagement bait. Like, for example, this tweet of Dr. Disrespect dancing with a child. It really does go to show that Twitter is the #1 place to show you how terribly things can age. So before we get into the bad stuff, I think it's good to talk about the wholesome Chungus moments. So there was one funny highlight when Tyler 1 had a meet and greet, and Ludwig actually snuck into the meet and greet pretending to be like a fan, obviously wearing like a hygiene mask so his face was covered, and then he did the reveal right in front of Tyler.
Tyler 1 meet and greet at the AT&T booth. Get off me! You are dog at everything.
There was also a train that was blocking the convention center for around half an hour, so no one could actually move. Everyone was basically completely stun locked. There was also a huge variety of shows and panels that, to be fair, had like pretty big production value. Or if you didn't care about that, maybe you could go to TwitchCon to enlist in the Navy. They had a stand. There's a picture here with Isabel in Smash in the corner. I always find it really funny that there's so many army recruitment places in like pretty much every single expo around the world. When I
God damn it! I almost killed the
goes down.
Big
Like,
fiery
you would
chicken.
always have stands about like the Royal Marines or the Army. They always try to specifically target gamers because they think like, well, okay, you're not really amounting to much, are you? You're kind of wasting your life, right? Why don't you join the army and do something? But you know what? I'm going to tell you now very bravely, do not do it. Become a gamer. Become an esports player. Become a YouTube commentary channel, because then you get to waste other people's time and get paid for it. However, unfortunately, as much as I wish I could make this video a whole song and dance about how amazing TwitchCon was, there was some more drama. There's always drama. But first, thank you to Opera GX for sponsoring this video. Now, I'm pretty sure you've seen about 2,000 Opera GX sponsors, but did you know that Opera GX now has GX mods? With GX mods, you're able to fully customize your browser experience. Have you ever wondered to yourself, do you want to hear farts every time you type on the keyboard? Well, now you can. There's background music, keyboard sounds, opening and closing tab sounds, mods dedicated wallpaper, disabling and enabling mods in individual modifications in the mods menu. I mean, just look how many mods there are. I personally love the Cyberpunk one, because even if the game fell off a little bit, this plugin certainly hasn't. Not to mention as well, every single app you have can be accessed conveniently on the sidebar. Discord, TikTok, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger.
Oh shit, yeah. I tried to like,
and also, who
cheese
can forget,
was
other search browsers, they hog
was a minion.
resources. I mean, just look at this comparison between Opera GX and the browser that you're probably using right now. That's because Opera GX has GX Control, where you can limit the amount of CPU and RAM usage you have. It's sad to say, your current browser is dead. I know this is obviously a shill, but I do actually use Opera GX myself. Like, anytime I'm streaming, I basically just use it as my default search engine. Stop browsing like a clone and get with a real one. Use the link on screen or down in the description to download Opera GX for free today. And again, massive shout out to Opera GX for sponsoring this video. So recently, the streamer Erub came out and announced that him and his longtime partner Brit would be separating after 5 years of being together.
Man, I don't really like talking about my personal life too much on stream, but yeah, it happened. Going through that, it's been tough.
However, though, there was another streamer called Darius IRL, and he basically alleged that the reason why Erub and Brit split off from each other is because Erub was cheating on her. Apparently, at the minute, the situation with Darius, he streams on Kick, although currently he's trying to get his account unbanned from Twitch. Apparently, the reason for him being banned was some joke he made about men being electrocuted, and that resulted in a ban. So here, in this clip, bizarrely, Darius is basically claiming that it was his roommate that caused the divorce between Erub and Brit.
My roommate caused the divorce between him and his wife.
Supposedly, with no proof, by the way, Erub was caught kissing this girl and Brit was nearby, and it, you know, spawned into this whole fight.
Apparently, they were kissing at a recent event, but his wife was there. It was a whole thing. They had a whole fight. But Erub, honestly, he's a cheater.
Which then led to the divorce.
Finally,
but again, when he makes this claim on stream, there is no proof whatsoever. There's no footage. There's not even any message screenshots. There is nothing at all. So later that night, Darius runs into Erub while they're basically out of the town and ends up confronting Erub and immediately calls him out for being a loser.
I will lose it because you kissed a girl at a party.
So the two are bickering, you know, just having like a back and forth. And Erub actually claims that the girl kissed him even though he didn't really touch her. And then it escalates because Darius claims that Erub is someone that, like, even though he's married and has a child, apparently goes to strip clubs.
Because you're trying to keep your girl, you can't stop around and go to strip
clubs.
No. You literally got divorced.
Erub gets upset, calls him a loser, and then eventually takes a swing at him.
You're gonna lose. Don't do it. Your life's over. Oh, stop.
They both keep fighting until other people get involved that are watching and, you know, separate the two, and then they both just go their separate ways. Now, Darius did put out a tweet saying that he wasn't going to press charges towards Erub and took accountability for leaking things while he was drunk. But a short time later, he actually ended up deleting that tweet, so there is also the possibility he might still be pressing charges. So that was situation number one that happened around TwitchCon. I really wish that was the only happening that happened. There's another streamer called DBR666. Now, I'm not sure what happened during lockdown, but there are so many streamers like this guy. They're basically IRL trolls that just try to clip farm as much as possible. They're basically all just doing the equivalent of Neon, like just acting like an absolute douchebag in public with, you know, varying degrees of success. The most recent happenings he's had was trying to get
I tried to So it capture window, but I don't know why. It is so hard to capture in window. Is that like a problem now because you cannot even capture the window? Yeah, look at it. Like my window doesn't capture the picture anymore for some reason. Ah, fuck it.
Cartoon mascots to let him twerk on them.
Stitch wants a piece. What the fuck?
As well as getting shot by paintballs from FouseyTube.
He's scared of getting shot. What a baby.
What's his name?
DBR.
That's Come on, Nick. That's DBR. He's the one who said G0. Got his ass.
Now, I do want to clarify that it's not what he did in this situation, but it's his clip that got attention. So you might remember at the beginning of the video, I talked about that train that pulled up outside TwitchCon, which basically had everyone stun locked for the best part of half an hour. But even worse than that, this train might have actually nearly killed someone. DBR was recording an interaction between a fan and another kick streamer called Shuvy. So as DBR is chatting with this Shuvy fan, a random guy pushes Shuvy head first into the oncoming train.
Yeah. Oh, chill, bro. Chill out, bro. That's
What the fuck?
So yeah, I don't really think I need to get into the dynamics of why pushing someone onto a moving train is a bad idea. He could have easily slipped and fell down, and then he would have had to reset character. I think that is one of the most toxic things about the entire streaming culture at the minute. It is like, you need to get a clip. You will do anything to get a clip. And I'm not saying that Shuvy set that up or anything. He obviously had no idea that he was going to get pushed into a train. The guy's literally shook afterwards. But the fact that the guy doesn't even realize what he did is like really, really bad. Even all the streamers are like, okay, that's too much of a clip, bro. That's too much of a clip. And instead of like, you know, apologizing and be like, I went too far, bro, sorry, he just ends up flipping off the camera instead. Now, Shuvy did end up tweeting later saying that he wasn't harmed and basically he made it, like he's okay. I mean, I can imagine some people watching that clip being like, oh, he just
bro, if someone do it to me, I'm
cares?
fucking
But
throwing
again,
him. I don't care. I'm not fighting with you. I'm trying to kill me. I'm just gonna fucking
ways
punch
of
you.
how that could have ended terribly. And then he tweets about finding the guy was basically a fan. Nice fan interaction there. Apparently joined his Discord server and then even asked Shuvy if he wanted to drive in his car on stream. So anyway, back to DBR, who actually clipped that entire situation. What did he do outside of that? Well, he basically took it upon himself to go on a worldwide harassment spree. First up, he went to the infamous Fresh and Fit podcast. If you haven't seen that, I did a video covering those guys a couple months ago. I think I called it Sigma Podcast to Cringe or something like that. The entire point of those podcasts is basically women le bad. And believe me, I'm on the same opinion. Women are le bad. But oh my god, bro, eventually you have to shut up and realize that you need to do a little bit of self-improvement. You cannot just blame women for everything all day, every day. So he runs up to the hosts of Fresh and Fit and he tries to hug them and then kissing them on the neck, which Fresh ends up backing away because obviously that is not Sigma behavior.
I'm okay. Oh my god.
What the hell happened on my stream?
Okay,
cannot
that
even
was actually
capture
hilarious.
the-
It's kind of funny because he's doing it to like the crowd that would be like thinking he's funny as well.
I cannot
Kind of
capture
nuts.
it
Now,
anymore. What the
regardless
hell?
of my opinion of the Fresh and Fit podcast, even though I did find it to be a little bit funny, it's obviously a little bit uncalled for, running up to people like randomly kissing them. And then DBR runs into NMP LOL and Wake Wilder, two very popular streamers, while in the artist alley at the convention. So
Oh,
here
my
he ends
OBS
up rubbing his head
bugging
against
out. I cannot
Nick,
even,
and then acts like he's like rubbing against his nipple. Like,
Capturing
honestly,
the
what I'm gonna
thing.
do is play the clips side by side because this
The-
isn't even his bit. You know that viral clip of
Anyway,
like
he
some
actually
random
lied.
child fan going up to Markiplier and rubbing his head against him and Markiplier feels really uncomfortable? What he is doing is exactly what that kid is doing. So then Nick was like put in a very awkward situation because he's not really a chronic clip farmer himself, and then he politely asks the guy to stop doing that because the thing is, when you're a big streamer with a natural reputation and then you have a clip farmer come up to you, you're put in a really awkward situation because it's like, do you want to play along? You kind of can, but then in turn you're actually having this this guy actively leech off you, growing his popularity. And also, you could be just mentally sane and not want to fuck with that at all. And then DBR says hello to Wake, and they shake hands. And then DBR starts to kiss his hand. It's really just painfully awkward interactions. And it did end up with DBR being banned from the event. And then he goes on this weird rant saying that like all the big Twitch streamers are holding like Diddy parties, despite the fact that he got thrown out, which even gets a laugh from the cops.
I swear to God, last night they were having a Diddy party, no cameras, nobody's allowed, just the partners. How the fuck's that? Because they're doing fucking...
By the looks of it, this DBR guy doesn't have the best rep on the platform. And honestly, I think instead of harassing people at TwitchCon, he should get into stand-up, because like him making the cops laugh is probably more entertaining than anything else he did at TwitchCon. It kills me, bro. Like they're on shift and they have to like look away from him because they're laughing so much. He then goes on to meet the big OG XQC. Of course he had to. If anyone could make you famous from getting a clip with them, it would be XQC. So XQC is out there like just head to toe dripped in Gucci as usual. I make that joke at his expense, but I'm the one.
I'm just testing right now, so I don't know what happened. Yeah, I will do it later on when I head off, so yeah. And now my browser fucked up.
One that wears a PS5 shirt most days. I think the PS5 shirt has become so synonymous with my character that there's even loads of viral memes about it.
I fucking hate you and hope you die. I like playing games that are good.
I actually don't know who made that. It's got to be like a turbo renter. It's probably Dolan or something. Dolan sent it to me one day in a group chat, and he just will not tell me where he found it. So I think that he actually was bitter enough to make it. No, he made that. He 100% made that. It's too snide. He 100% made that. Look, I fucking hate this, bro. Look at this. I posted it on the Discord server right now, and they're just reacting with the pregnancy emoji. Like, look how much they're spamming the trans flag as well. Like, guaranteed, half of them are trans, and half of them are doing it ironically. So he goes up to XQC, basically saying he wants to suck his dick and needs the clout from him. Which honestly, chronic clip farmers, they would actually suck off XQC for a droplet of clout. And then after XQC awkwardly walks off, ignores him, he eventually gives up chase, and then goes on this weird ramble about how he's just clip farming and that he's Kai Cenat.
I'm Kai Cenat.
Keep in mind, the entire time that he was walking around filming, he was wearing a woman's dress as well. He then goes up to a Wolverine cosplay and continues his, you know, sucking off saga. And then he runs into the most chronic clip farmer of them all, FouseyTube. And FouseyTube actually has security that pushes him away. I like how FouseyTube's logic is like, I'm a clip farmer, but you're too much of a clip farmer. I'm above the rest.
What's up, Fousey? How you doing? When we're gonna turn the bots off, Fousey? When does the bots turn off? When do the bots turn off? Turn the bots off. You want to turn the bots off?
I saw this bizarre rant that FouseyTube had the other day on stream, and it was like saying who are the best streamers in the world. He put himself as like #1, and then he put Ice Poseidon as #2, because most of the IRL streamers wouldn't be a thing without Ice Poseidon building the foundations, those horrible foundations. And then he put like Neon at like 100, which was actually kind of funny.
But if we're talking IRL streamers, bitch, I run this game.
Rank top 3.
Huh? Top 3.
Top 3 IRL streamers?
Ooh.
That's so hard. You got Fousey at 1.
He can be so unlikable, and he's definitely god tier grifter, but yeah, The thing is with Fuzi, he can actually be funny sometimes.
See, I can't disrespect Ice because he created the IRL streaming. So we just gonna throw Ice at 2. Okay. I'm sorry.
Now it is a redemption mod. They're adding like a bunch of new things.
I like how even he realizes, yeah, Neon, nah, that guy sucks. Like, how can you be that good at clip farming that you make all the other clip farmers hate you? Like, that is insane. DBR was also caught harassing Knut. I'm not sure why he's doing that.
Oh,
Knut
no.
is probably one of the most intimidating streamers you could imagine. He could face plant you into the wall. He was basically going on about Miskiff's previous allegations.
Why is Miskiff covering up for sexual allegations? Do you believe covering up for sexual allegations is okay? You think it's really nice?
You're messing with Knut?
Wow,
I'm surprised he doesn't bend you in half.
Twitch support you?
And even went up to Extra Emily to ask her about the situation.
And what do you think about Miskiff covering up sexual allegations?
Oh, I don't know about that, but thank you. I'm gonna, thank you, DVR. It's really nice to meet you. Yes, have a great night.
He went up to the CEO, Dan Clancy. Something about Twitch streamers working for free.
To pay your employees. So I'd like you to address the situation about making your employees work for free. Do you not believe that's slave labor?
So yeah, basically just going around having like any kind of interaction with a positive
So
or
they go
negative,
to-
hopefully
yeah,
to stir
annoying.
up some kind of clipping to get famous. Apparently as well, a couple of weeks prior, DBR actually interrupted a Halo major live event, you know, for the 5 people that still play Halo. That was on Twitch, and he went around screaming, "Fuck Twitch." And the entire time he was dressed as Frozone from The Incredibles.
Please, just please one. Can I take
I'm surprised they didn't kick him out.
I understand the TOS.
Kick.com is the best streaming platform. Twitch, pay your employees. Slate. You're done.
I find it crazy how there's no security there as well. Like, one of the
Yeah.
people hosting has to actually get out of their seat to eject him. Now, DBR has been temporarily banned from Kick for his actions. He then later tweeted out that his actions do not represent Kick, and if he did this on any other platform, he would have just been labeled as a regular streamer versus a Kick streamer. He also goes on to say that there's a lot of wholesome streamers on Kick, but everyone just waits for the bad person to do something so they can all blame Kick. I mean, I'll be honest, like, I don't even mean this as a snide. I don't know a single good Kick streamer, like a wholesome one. I cannot name one. I can't, because people that are like chronic clip farmers have unfortunately gave Kick such a negative reputation. Are there good people on Kick? Probably, but I couldn't name a single one. You know when that kid Matan Evans said to that girl on the podcast, name 10 books? I think a harder question would be name 10 good Kick streamers. Now, the clips that I talked about at the beginning of the video from Erob and Darius having that confrontation about Erob allegedly cheating, this has got a lot of attention online, including from other streamers talking about it. For example, a very popular streamer, Tectone, actually went on stream to rant about the clips and how ridiculous it was to basically harass innocent people.
Harassing innocent people for no fucking reason. It's a joke. The fact that Extra Emily had to run away from a Kick streamer because she felt unsafe is insane. It's insane. And the only thought that I've had in my head is, damn, I wish I was there when it happened. I mean, there's people pushing people into moving trains.
Ludwig tweeted about it as well, basically saying that people on Kick are the worst part of Kick, that just because they're chronic
I don't
clip
think they
farmers,
even
don't
accept
realize
fight
that they're
with
not
Kick
making
streamer.
actual content to succeed. And then Knut replied, saying that apparently one of them asked his 12-year-old daughter to go to the clubs with her, and now they've been banned, thankfully. Even Rob Breslow, known as Slasher on Twitter, shared a tweet about how terrible the Kick platform is. Going to TwitchCon to stream on another platform while explicitly being as annoying, obnoxious, and insufferable as possible does not instill confidence on why people should stream there instead of Twitch. If you don't know who Slasher is, he was one of the first people to like publicly allude about the Dr. Disrespect stuff like years before it came out, to which afterwards then Ed Cravens responds doubling down, saying that Kick has banned anyone that violated their IRL policies. And then of course, your boy, the OG, the GOAT, XQC, is that a dog? The man I cannot stop cosplaying as, went on stream to talk about his side, because with him, it's a little bit complicated, right? He does stream on Twitch, he's a Twitch streamer, but he's also got that big fat contract with Kick as well.
Dude, a ban isn't gonna fix that gap in mental or restraint, dude. Like, you need added repercussions. Dude, you get the fucking police involved, okay? That's not the other guy, like, pushing, like, on the train or whatever. What is that about? Brother, we almost had to swing hands at this fucking scumlord. I almost fucking crashed the fuck out. Dude, I rarely see Red, okay? It's a dodo.
The funny thing is, looking at XQC's chat, I think they actually hate him more than my fan base hate me. Like, he's talking about how he's seeing red and about to crash out. That never would have happened, by the way. But yeah, you can see chat saying, you know how to fight? Gotta crash out. W crash out unk. And then obviously everyone just spamming the I'll show speed gif. It's so good, man. It's so good. So yeah, my brave statement, copyright trademarked incoming for the video, but harassing people in public for clips isn't cool. I mean, the thing is, some of these people that are like chronic clip farmers, they are talented. And like when I was saying about DBR earlier, like doing stand-up, like genuinely, the guy is jokes. Like some of the stuff he says is pretty funny. It's not funny when he goes up, harasses someone, but you know, like making those cops laugh. I actually thought, oh my God, this guy could actually like do a bit without like, you know, it being at someone else's expense. I think what clip farmers need to realize is like, all they do is get like the top post on live stream fail, like LSF, and then maybe put on some other subreddit or something. And all that happens is you get your 15 seconds of fame, but then you get absolutely vilified. How can I put this in a video game reference to the power audience? This is like Fallout New Vegas, right? The game that all the trans people like. This is like going into Good Springs and gunning everyone down. Wait, no, that's a bad example because then you can go to the powder gangers. Well, what's a good example here? All right, I got one. This is like finding an empty scroll in Fear and Hunger when you're streaming and then you type Big Chungus in every single verse. You've wasted the best item in the game for a funny moment. Is it worth it? Maybe for the clip, but then you fucked yourself for the rest of the playthrough.
I don't even play Fear and Hunger, so I don't know
reference that like 7 people watching the video will get.
The main thing is it not? It's a website. Like the website, majority of Twitch streamer is basically from the kid community who try up like a controversial take and the basically based on the viewer type thing, to be honest. And I don't think the kick viewer is like considered good. They try a controversy. That is, so yeah. I don't have any. Yeah, so basically, is that like that? How like why? Like that. Oh, dang! It almost 7. Well, I'm stop streaming today. I need to make dinner. I will stream tomorrow though. So, yeah. See ya.